Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here and we're ready to bring you the finals, the championship match here in the Deadlock Night Shift number 14 for North America. It's going to be Melee Creeps defending their title up against Sneaky Golem. But before we can get into that, we want to see some match stats from our matchup between Sneaky Golem and Bunny with Clock, because Goober has been requesting it in chat. You know what? We like to make Goober happy because look at that damage, not to mention objective damage.
Oh, look at the souls that he got as well. 23% from enemy kills.
Yeah, he was farming. Also, for a split second, I thought I was losing my mind because I thought Jason said, "Look at that damage." I was just like, "Wait, what damage? Like, we just shifted off the cameras.
Have you seen his traps?
What are you talking about?" But yeah, I mean, look, it was a pretty good game to be a DPS Viscous, and it's not, the damage looks good. The killing blows at 16 looks even better. I mean, the eye test was that Goober was roaming around the map, crushing people, and well, the math checks out.
Did he get one kill
ridiculous.
for every year he's been alive? I believe he's like, I know you already mentioned he's pretty young and should be able to stand the test of time when it comes to Deadlock, but I think he is around like 16, 17 years old.
Makes sense. But which also, if he's only 16 now, that would mean he was 15 when he started playing Deadlock. So that
could be wrong.
like,
He could be like 17.
But think about it, if that is the age range, when you think about the players that ended up becoming like legends in their games historically, it's usually the people that like started off the game at 14 years old. Like that seems to be like the best age to like know life a game and have that be like your game, because those are the people that turn into just gods when you hit like year 3 or year 4.
Do you think people in his high school or school that he's in make fun of him by calling him Deadlock?
Probably not. He's probably got the biggest social media account in the class.
I'm not sure if anyone out there, you know, gets that callback. But we have the MVP, our player of the match. Of course, is going to be Goober. It wouldn't be anyone else coming through with the 35,000 player damage. And there's nothing you can say. Like, there's no doubt in anyone's mind he should not be the MVP. I think the only question going forward is, ZP, do you think he could maintain this kind of build and effectiveness up against Melee Creeps, or will they just ban away his Viscous altogether?
I think they'll either try to ban the Viscous or pick Prowit away. I mean, it's a little bit hard because Viscous is good and obviously a really good comfort pick for Goober, but Sneaky Golem plays so well with the heroes that are currently meta picks that I don't think you want to bet the farm on saying we need to just stop Goober. I think there's other threats on this team that equally give you a really hard time, so you have to worry about that. Also, in turn, I think between the two teams, it's actually more so Melee Creeps has to worry about protecting what they want to play. You know, things like John on the Bebop.
Or his Warden, right, Dan?
Exactly, yeah. See, look, don't trigger ZP's generational Warden trauma again. Okay, this has been a very triggering show for ZP so far. I feel like
Tanner here again, and
Warden.
and he's gonna play Warden. I'm just kidding.
No, that's good. He's gonna get his ass kicked if he plays Warden. Like, yes, please play Warden. Like, that's
you know what?
That's a promise of a good time.
I think you bring up a good point though, ZP, because that is one of the potential downsides. Okay, he turned 18 like 3 months ago. Whew. Sorry, I just saw Goober in chat. That is one of the downsides about Melee Creeps, is if you're trying to protect a specific hero for you to have success, because Sneaky Golem, they don't need Goober on Viscous to win games. Melee Creeps, do they need Bebop for them to win games? I think they've shown in the past they don't necessarily need it. However, we're not sure if John has the same level of impact on another hero that Goober has on another hero. What's your thought, ZP?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think Goober is pretty versatile overall. And on the same note, I think John proved versatility. Like, we saw John get hit with like the kitchen sink of, we're going to try and ban everything you want to play, and it didn't work. So I would hope neither team would go too down far the rabbit hole of trying to deny comfort picks. I do think, though, you know, giving John Bebop is not great. If I'm Sneaky Golem and I want to reclaim the throne, I probably try to deny that at a minimum.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, Dan, Sneaky Golem have been one of the few teams out there that specifically do a massive amount of target bans. I'm thinking back to the Trolley Open where they did against the Unks, taking away Yamato from Warden over and over again. But as we move into like the Melee Creeps roster, we talk a lot about John, but there's another player on the team that we have to mention. It's Idorian. Like, this guy, top player in North America, was playing professionally, then went to streaming, and then he got the call from Melee Creeps to you know, bring him right on up, and he's done fairly well within the team and given him a lot of extra versatility in the roster.
Yeah, he's interesting in the sense that Ido's clearly someone that really wants to compete, but at the same time, I think he's been kind of foot in, foot out here and there. That's what we've seen. He's very popular as a streamer, and as you say, like he's been a devastatingly strong player and across many roles, most notably for his pocket. But obviously, since then, you know, he's managed to flex out into a bunch of different heroes that perform a bunch of different roles. You know, Abrams is one that's very dissimilar to a pocket. You know, we've seen Mina be another hero that's been quite choice for him of late as well. But he still feels like he is evolving as a top player, but it feels like he could be so much more. He's definitely someone to watch out for, and I'm really excited that he's on this roster because it's like the perfect competitive environment, I think, to bring the best out of him.
Yeah, and ZP, you know, you talk about Goober as probably like not generational talent. I think that's maybe a little over exaggeration. But one of the talents in Deadlock that you see that can go far. Would you also put Ido in the same category? Young player, very skilled, and has been at the top of the table for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Ido's case, in terms of long-term competitiveness and just thinking about the players, I think Goober is more likely to be on a team 2 years from now, for nothing else, because I think Ido currently has a way bigger stream and is way more content focused. So I think like if Deadlock goes, really large in the next year, and Ido wakes up as like, damn, my stream is getting like 20K concurrent viewers. I don't know if Ido combines that with going full time on a team if the team says, hey, you can't stream while doing it. Like he may do a content team, but of the two, if Goober isn't also doing the same level of streaming, I think Goober's more likely to end up on a team that is in the, yeah, I'm just going to grind and like try and be the best team in the region. Like I do think there's a little bit of a difference in how I see their paths going. But for right now, they're both really incredibly mechanically talented players, and they're on the best team in North America. So I'm excited to see them play together.
Yeah, and not to mention another player on the team that you have to talk about, Saya. I think he's the last remaining original member from Melee Creeps. I think I'm right in that, actually. Yeah.
Well, John, I think, was on those original teams too, right?
Not the original team. Because you had Axe, Cool Cheese, Low Main, AVG, okay. Poshy Pop, Saya.
Yeah, I think John got added a little bit later on. You're right. But yeah. John has been with them for a long time. It just... Yeah. It gets murky. It's been a long time. You know
Saya well. I think you know his dad even more. He used to play tribes with him. I think it was back in the day. Every time you
Firefall. I think Firefall. Briefly. The linking piece was Cool Matt 69 for those in chat that go deeper into the OW lore. So yeah.
I think if you watch Saya stream, you hear his dad playing games right behind him, and he's been playing games his whole life. But I think what's also interesting for Saya, he has a full-time job. I think as a teacher, if I'm not mistaken. He was streaming till like 6 in the morning his time. Went to bed, went to work, came home, and now he's playing here in DLNS. And I mean, he's taking a lot of weight on his shoulders here, Dan. And I wonder if he'll ever make that jump, or whatever will be that jumping point for him to be like, okay, you know, I want to go full commit to this and become a pro player.
Well, I guess we'll find out next year. We'll find out next year, because I feel like that's when some of that's when the open beta is expected. That's when the tournaments are expected, I think, to follow. So we'll see. Definitely, he's holding his position right now to give himself the option. And as we look at these first bans,
just laughing because I'm still Tanner. I have you know, chat, I was not a bully in high school. I was the bullied. All three of us were. I feel like almost anyone in esports generally was bullied when they were
I'm trying to think of someone who absolutely would not be bullied, and like someone may come to mind at some point, but right now it's not happening in terms of esports players that we know.
Hoot's too handsome to be bullied. I don't think that's possible for him to be bullied. Okay, so we do have Viscous being taken away by Melee Creeps. A respect ban coming through for Goober. I'm a little bit sad to not see it, but if you want to see Melee Creeps win, I think that's a very smart choice. And the response to Sneaky Golem will be a Kelvin ban, leaving again open a potential Bebop or maybe a Warden. No, I'm just kidding. A potential Bebop coming through, but obviously as a first pick, Dan, I don't think we're going to see that.
It was smart to turn to Paradox for help.
There we go.
No.
So surely we get Shiv coming on through here. Like Shiv, Holiday is still available. Holiday, as we've seen, is mega broken still. There was no patch, right? Is that correct, guys? Is she still mega broken?
No patch. Her gun scaling is still really, really good in the late game. Yeah, I mean, I think the question here for Sneaky Golem is, do you go something like the Holiday or do you go the Bebop? Because you could go, okay, the Holiday is in, or do you go both? Like in theory, you can go both. You can play Bebop as more catch. You can play Holiday as more carry. Like Holiday is so good in the late game that you can combine Holiday with either a Paradox or a Bebop and still be pretty happy with it. The problem is that you give up Shiv if you do that, and that just may be too much power to throw to the other team.
So you need a monster hunter, huh?
Okay, there we go. Expected. So for melee creeps, I mean, securing the Bebop, I think, does make sense at some point here because it just doesn't feel like it ever survives the second wave of bans.
It won't. I think you're 100% right that they need to pick the Bebop in the next 2, or it's going to get banned. So the Amato comes in, and I mean, you think about John John's overall hero pool, maybe you want to do Doorman, but if you don't, you want either Bebop or Doorman, I think, for his hero pool. Like, yeah, other things like Warden and Geist are still around, but you don't want John John to play that. I think if you're a Sneaky Golem, you're like, yeah, have John John play those heroes. We're cool with it.
I mean,
I think Ido is also a great one.
Don't you worry.
I was just in chats, like sitting here saying, I'm going to donate money to Bebop players. So, I mean, if you're John John, you tell Side, no, pick me Bebop. I don't care if it fits our comp. Just give me the Bebop. I need the money. But you're talking about Ido here, Dan.
I was just saying, I think he's also one for the Bebop. For the Doorman. He's someone that's been playing Doorman quite a lot as well. So I think that's in his hero pool right now. So that'd be kind of fun to see. But the Infernus, I think, makes a lot of sense. It's just like the anti Shiv, very helpful to deal with Shiv and to just also, in the laning phase too. I think it's kind of nice to punish the Shiv who can otherwise dominate with serrated knives. But Mina coming on through his EP for Sneaky Golem.
Curious on the ban. I think banning the Bebop is probably the more intelligent way to go, but instead they're worried about the Geist. Now, you think about it, they had their 2 picks. They get 1 pick out of ban here. Does this signal that they're going to be going Bebop or Doorman? I feel like one of the 2 may be coming in if they're taking care to remove Geist, which would otherwise be in John John's hero pool.
So he's going to play the Warden.
Do not play the Warden. Don't. He's dead right now. Just let him rest.
What's so weird though is that like a Geist ban. I don't think Geist is that pivot. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, ZP. I don't think Geist is that pivotal to a match that you could have the same effect as his Bebop or as Goober on Viscous. Like it's not that good of a hero at the moment to have that kind of impact in a match. Or do you disagree with that?
I mean, it's good, but I mean, when you're talking about John John's hero pool, it's more so to remove a comfort hero. But you've picked Billy, and now melee creeps have picks 4 and 5 available to them. So surely you can pick whatever John John wants here out of the remaining heroes, of which most of his hero pool is still available. So the Geist ban actually doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It almost feels a bit throwaway for what you could expect melee creeps to play here.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the argument for it, but I'm not entirely sure of the value. Nothing strong enough, at least, that I want to say. Because I feel like if I suggest some things that are in my mind, everyone's just going to call me names and say I'm stupid, and I just get bullied all over again like at school, Jason.
No, we won't bully you, Quake. We do see, though, the Moa Grill to pair with the Paradox and Bebop, something we saw quite a bit of. The Paradox will swap into a combo just for an easy instant kill. Same with the hook to come through. And this is something we've seen in the Trolley Open, if I'm not mistaken, quite consistently just a few weeks ago. And the response for Sneaky Golem is a Vindicta.
I wouldn't mind seeing an Ivy here too. I mean, maybe farm-wise, they feel like they're going to be giving most of their farm to Holiday and Mina because it's probably going to be Ido on the Mina, and Ido does not play a broke Mina. There's no broke Minas for Ido. It is take half the jungle. So maybe an Ivy doesn't make sense, and they'd go more in the realm of frontline or support.
Ido's not going to be on Mina,
Dynamo,
though.
that qualifies on the support. That's Dynamo.
So that's going to be hydration on Dynamo.
Most likely, yeah.
And is Ido playing the Yamato on melee creep side?
Oh yeah, I know I said Ido for Sneaky Golem. Like, yeah, so it's even still though, the way Mina gets played in NA, like Ido or not, is usually more of a greedy stuff. But yeah, I think just in NA I've seen Mina on Ido so often that it's like, oh yeah, forget the team, it's probably Ido on it. Well,
yeah,
not this
I know
time.
what you mean. But the Dynamo, man, Dan, when the hell did we see Dynamo come in?
Well, that's what I was trying to say. Like, it seems kind of momentous. I mean, Dynamo's been McGuinness here in terms of the picks. I mean, even McGuinness got picks, not too long ago in North America, thanks to Deathy's team who picked it. But Dynamo, I mean, the problem with Dynamo is that I feel like people picked Billy to get Dynamo's value in the ult, but just have it be much more consistent and safe. because the Dynamo ult is hard to land, it's easy to disrupt, and the pro teams will understand how to look out for it, how to play around it. So I feel like there's got to be a build here. Is it like a gun Dynamo build that makes sense because of the way his... Like, what are we thinking here? Like, we're looking at a knockout build? What's the value for Dynamo here? Because they've already got Billy. They're going to, like, put the Chain Gang into the... Is the Chain Gang the setup for the Dynamo ult? Is that the plan?
Bruh.
It could be. I mean, Chain Gang is a little bit weird right now, where Chain Gang, you would think you would be able to break it, but it is not. It does not break in a rational manner. Like, as anyone can attest, you can, like, get hit by Chain Gang, walk around line of sight, and randomly have that shit, like, not break and still get dragged ahead. So, I mean, I do think the Billy is a big calculus as to why you would pick Dynamo here. In terms of the nitty-gritty of the build, I would guess more general support. I don't think, Hydration generally goes more utility builds rather than carry builds nowadays anyways. And you think about who's going to be absorbing a lot of the farm on the team, it's probably going to be more in the realm of like Holiday and Shiv and Mina. They're taking the farm. So like, if you're not eating a ton of farm as Dynamo, you're probably not going gun build. You're probably going more spirit, which is going to help, your ability to knock people up. It's going to help your ability to go for singularity. And I mean, probably later into the game, you will end up going refresher. So that's kind of the build I envision more for Hydration here.
Chain Gang into Singularity into Tether with Nox Nostra plus barrels and Shiv dashes on top. And it's a whole new level of wombo combo coming in here for Sneaky Golem. I am really excited to see how this could play out for them. Also excited to see what Hydration goes with the Dynamo build. But one here we haven't touched on melee creep side, Great Talon coming in, which should have a fairly easy chance to get away from this Chain Gang or prevent it from being latched onto you, unless Billy uses Phantom Strike or like a Warp Stone to close the distance. And there's real potential for Great Talon just to eliminate Dynamo before he has a chance to make that Singularity work.
Yeah. On the same note, though, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on my views of GT in this game. On one hand, I mean, I think GT is still good and probably underpicked just because of shenanigans with Owl. On the other hand, I don't love GT against the Holiday, where Holiday is still like in the camp of, oh, there's a GT, I will point and shoot. Like, GT can play really far back and try to avoid the confrontation, but there's a lot of neutral fights here, whether it be the Vindicta or Holiday, that could end badly for GT, or like the fact that you have to deal with them both together. So whoever's playing GT is going to have to be very defensive, very far back, and very aware of positioning that they're never in the front line.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get underway here with our first match in our championship game here in the Deadlock Night Shift number 14 for North America. It's Melee Creeps, it's Sneaky Golem. Let us know who you think's going to win in the chat, and we'll have our two commentators take it away with ZP and DDK.
All right, thank you, Jason. I gotta say, ZP, it's so funny.
Well, you can't call him ZP after making me call him ZP.
No, you have to like slowly go out of it. It's been for half the stream, then you slowly shift out of it.
ZP. Zip. I bet there's people that call you that. Is there people that call you that, ZP? Like zip.
The zip happened, that was a long time ago, actually. But yeah, the zip was a thing at one point.
Okay, so I guess it didn't stick then. That's good.
It did not.
Good news for you. Well,
I mean, at some point we've added an I, but then it's like a different thing entirely,
That's true. Well, I gotta say, in terms of like a different thing entirely, that's kind of the point I was gonna go to here, because if let's say, so the super exciting thing about this game is that Dynamo was picked, right, by Sneaky Golem, and if let's say a lesser team picked this, we would be like, oh my god, why on earth are you doing this? But because it's Sneaky Golem, it's like, holy moly, what are you guys gonna do? This is gonna be great.
It still strikes me perhaps as a little experimental, but I do think the call and draft of like, maybe it's because Billy is there. Also, just talking about Chain Gang operation, it triggered Jonas in chat. Jonas is like, it is the most inconsistent ability in the game. He's not wrong. It is. It works weirdly, but it usually works weirdly in Billy's favor. So if this just ends up being a game where Hydration is running it down, popping Chain Gang, and hoping that 2 or 3 people get set up for Rocker, it wouldn't really surprise me.
And like Jason was saying too, it's the exact same thing I was thinking as well, where you see all of the potential like combos off of it if you get the tether. So like all you need is Billy to get like 2-3 people, and then suddenly you can just wipe them. That is assuming everyone else is in place, but I hope that we get to see these interactions between the Sneaky Golem heroes for those synergies.
You know, one thing about it too, as it is Rocker and Dynamo getting pointed out here, you know what's going to be telling? Because you don't see this all that often on Billy, but has been seen a few times. If hydration goes in early expansion, like early greater expansion, then you kind of know that the entire game plan was just land chain gang into singularity. And oddly enough, I think the last time we saw a player do that was Listic. It was Listic playing Billy, went greater expansion. It was actually pretty effective. I mean, the amount of pulls you were able to get in were startlingly high. So I think watching itemization for both Rocker and hydration is going to be really, really interesting this game.
Love it. We'll definitely try to keep our eyes on that.
I see a furnace.
Oh, we're trying to harass as Infernus gets the boxes.
You know what's come back into play here, Dan? Headshot booster. Used to be safe from Mystic Shot, and now a lot more headshot boosters coming out. And nothing about headshot booster changed. It was only Mystic Shot that got nerfed.
Doesn't love a surprise.
Mystic Shot is still pretty good as well on the I feel like on the shotgun heroes especially. Your shivs and your pockets of the world.
It's like I have a shotgun, but also I have a no fall off sniper magic bullet that I shoot every 8 seconds.
It's actually so good. Like I got sniped by it today in the game.
Taking the shot.
It took me a while to understand how I died from a shotgun from like, like 100 meters away. I'm like, what?
It's like, well, have you heard of our Lord and Savior, no fall off Mystic Shot? But it's interesting because like statistically it got nerfed pretty heavily. In actuality, in terms of game, I feel like it carries most of its same impact before. But dive here, dropping the wall, looking for pressure here on to the Billy. A little bit of dive down, and while hydration's gonna be able to get away, you know, extract a reasonable HP tax on that.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about some of the lane matchups exactly just yet. Is there anything that stands out in terms of strength?
It's interesting. Like I would take a look at how it's panned out. You got, well, AVG able to take down DNB for starters. I mean, Shiv Mina is pretty aggressive because you're not going to be able to kill the Shiv, and the Mina is good at shaking pressure, and you don't usually want to keep line of sight on her early on. And Infernus Mo, that's not a strong lane. That's a survive lane. Like, you're not going to dominate. And in this case, Scout walks up a little bit too far and gets culled.
Did you say you got cold?
I did. The old Dodo was coming out there.
Okay.
Culling Blade.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like very culty kind of words, you know? Like, just like, where did that word come up for ZP? You must cull. Okay, well, in mid, we've got some nice action. Billy's always really fun, I think, to play, but I can't have fun on him. I don't know why. But when I watch other people play him, I'm like, oh man, that looks fun. Because you can get so aggressive with Billy and just be constantly just chasing people down. And I'm also curious with the singularity. All the melee hits that Billy would be able to get off for free is also kind of nice, but I'm going to get that using that rising round to get on out of there.
It feels a little bit win more in that instance where it's like you're going to get so much extra HP, but if you've hit people in melee so often as Billy, they're probably dead. The singularity is, you know, the upside. It's like, well, you're going to be fearsome, but you may not have anyone to fight immediately thereafter.
All right. Well, there's the Nox Nostra looking to disrupt the fun. I mean, dude, Nox Nostra on top of that that chain gang could be kind of nice as well. The singularity. We do have some combos.
Interesting note that, you know, you have this Bebop GT lane, and it's kind of been kept in check. I mean, Vindicta Holiday, a pretty reasonable lane as far as strength goes. I mean, Holiday itself, you know, herself, one of the best laners, and Vindicta can be scarily punishing. I wouldn't necessarily put Holiday as like the most scary combo she has, but it's not necessarily weak either, especially if you do get caught by a stake, because AVG's still going to town on the other side of the map.
He's getting it done. So he's going to take down hydration as well. Okay, intercontinental ballistic bird. It's gonna kill some candle troopers. That's not nice. Well, have you seen Walking Dead, CP?
I've not. Somehow that show has eluded me. I mean, there's a lot of TV I don't watch, I suppose, but that show has not been in the category of TV that I've watched. Somehow, I've heard that that's a shame at the early seasons and may have been a saving grace in the later seasons.
Yeah, it's got high highs and low lows, is how I always describe that show. But Billy reminds me of the character Negan, and anyone who's watched Walking Dead will probably understand what I mean when you see Billy on screen. So we'll see. And it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty specific. But anyways, speaking of Billy, we're back at it with the club. Looks like we'll actually signal to the melee creeps players to fall back out of mid. They have taken down that mid tower, so they can start to kind of increase that pace now as we get closer to the 10-minute mark. Still a couple minutes away. We've got that the sinners are coming up now. So that's the next shiny object that people will be interested in. Oh God, Holiday's so annoying.
That was a little
Just
bit
leave them alone.
It was a bit of an ambitious lasso there. Like the way League was aiming that, it's just like no. I mean, anytime someone's right by cover, I mean, even with Bebop's hitbox, if it hit, it was probably a kill. But the one thing that's unfortunate about Holiday is that if you do miss your lasso early on, you're not playing Paradox. You don't get another attempt at it in under a minute. You actually do have to sit back and wait a while for attempt number 2, especially nowadays where people generally prioritize barrel or crack shot before upping lasso.
I just want to be a Holiday hater because she's always so annoying to play against.
No.
So I just want to see her fail.
No Holiday hating. In fact, I can't justify it, but give her a buff for no particular reason.
Okay, cool.
Not biased in the least.
Well, the Bebop catch comes on through. There's a follow-up power shot as well from, oh my God, well, that's not even necessary. That's not even required from Ido, but he's going to do it anyway. He's going to get the extra bonuses when you get the kill with the ult. Always nice.
Yep, a little bit of extra spirit heading Ido's way. And look, sometimes you just want to be sure, especially when the lane has probably been a little bit vexing so far. But vexing lane's side, you also had the lane swap up here where AVG going over the middle and the right-hand side turns into a Dynamo Mina lane, but AVG may be looking for another bite at the apple here on the right-hand side. Getting in, over on the bow, in off the dash, throws the dagger. Pursuit, though, not going to be there just yet, but is going to be enough to back off some of the pressure that Sneaky Golem was dealing with on the right.
I hope Moan Group, they like do the take their the suit to the laundromat in between games.
I mean, it has to get dirty. I mean, you're continually going through tunnels with the suit on. I mean, clearly, no matter how well made it is, like, you're visiting the dry cleaner a lot.
Yeah. You have to get one of those like sprays on Amazon that keeps like the dirt off, keep your whites white and all that.
Dix is grounded off the swap, and
oh my God,
Goober gets punched in the mouth towards the very end. However, Chain Gang Singularity, not quite the combo execution though that Sneaky Golem may have been looking for. Melee creeps very much keen on this fight. Quantum up and over as Sneaky Golem tries to escape. John though on the chase down. Hyper Beam comes out. Saya on the finish, and well, we saw the vision for the combo, but the combo was not well executed that time around.
It's just it's a taster. It's an appetizer for what's to come. I am certain. I also noticed how you kind of cheaped out as a bit ZP there. You said Quantum as opposed to the full ability name, Quantum Entanglement. Like you're cutting some corners.
There's a lot of syllables there. I got other words to get through. People are getting shot. People are dying in the streets of New York, Dan.
Fair enough. Oof, okay, well, there's a catch here. Sanguine Retreat is not going to be able to be activated. In comes the combo. And in fact, Rokane does manage to actually squeeze out of there. That's incredible that Rokane survived that.
Mina things. The one thing Mina does is survive. Sometimes at the cost of her teammates, but Sanguine, the combination of 2 disjoints and the ability to get verticality is... it's a lot. But melee creeps off that last fight. maintain a bit of advantage. They're able to get an urn relatively uncontested. And you look at the game state here, Guardian-wise, still maintaining their middle Guardian.
Yeah, that's a huge win from the map control standpoint. Really allows you to macro more effectively with all of the extra vision that you get, as well as also having the zip line be a bit more secured, generally speaking. So definitely, yeah, Sneaky Golem a little on the back foot at the moment. And the farm is fairly evenly distributed on melee creeps. There's kind of 11k between 4 players, basically. And Goober's actually fairly far behind on the Vindictor at the moment. So Goober not having a great time. Needs to get some of those assassinates to start hopefully catching up some of these souls. Otherwise, it's going to be support Vindictor. Oh my god.
Chain Gang in the Nox Nostra into Saya, pretty healthy. All things considered at the end of that, Saya actually not too plussed about the entire scenario. So 2 ults thrown into the ether here from Sneaky Golem. Still looking to reestablish here on the right-hand side on the chase down Saya. Perhaps still in the line of sights, but just quickly on the retreat. Combo, though, behind enemy lines, followed by the Hyper Beam here on John.
Yeah, laying down the damage. That's going to send them away. That's going to secure the Guardian takedown on that left lane. In the meantime, you've got 3 players from Sneaky Golems. They're going to see an isolated Guardian mid. They're going to finally try to deal with this mid Guardian. They are going to pick it up, and there might be some interceptions that are possible for them as well. But it looks like they're going to fall back to the right side. They've got to defend the right walker. And there's going to be 4 players here for melee creeps to try to get away from. So they're not going to take this walker down. They're going to do a lot of damage. But how do they escape? 4 players, potentially 5 coming. I mean, there's no escape, surely.
Well, they get the walker, but yeah, it may have been a suicide mission all in all. But as you say that,
Oh my God.
Saya right now just hits the jump and is gone. Also, largely saved. I mean, the time wall to slow down the lasso, not get hit was huge. And I mean, you look at no one from melee creeps is down right now.
Unbelievable. But okay, Goober's going to take down D&B. There is the lift coming quickly there to Saya to slow him down. The swap as well to try to get out of that position. And Saya once again proving to be extremely slippery as Goober falls from the air. And we can take stock, you know, 7k difference on the overall souls. And we had a couple Guardians get taken down, but we actually did see melee creeps take down that right side walker. So that is actually a great advantage to have at this point.
I mean, melee creeps are just playing smart on the macro end. The one thing that is a little bit worrying is that we'll see how it works out in practice, but in theory, the Chain Gang Singularity combo is kind of unreal comeback potential in the late game. Like, even if melee creeps ends up 25 to 30k, that is a combo you do have to respect because you can get team wiped even when really far ahead. So, you know, while melee creeps is in a really good spot right now, it is not over. But okay, jump on the Billy, hop on over, combo. We'll see if the rest of the fall through is going to be there. Hydration not popping Chain Gang immediately, instead saying, nope, actually fine. Gets back up from Vindicta, Mina, and Dynamo. And now we might be hitting the combo town here in a moment, Dan.
Yeah, that's a very, very nice pick off there. Taking out the Shiv. Melee creeps looking like they're in good shape at the moment. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Sending Rocker all the way back. Quantum Entanglement, I'll say the full ability name because I'm not cheap. CP is gonna be not enough in this situation.
Ooh, and the interesting thing about that, do you decide, by the way, I assume if we go back to the replay, that was a ridiculous hook. Like, Rocker usually doesn't type that much, but you dropped the LOLK because you saw it on the minimap. Like, Rocker did get abducted from like 8 miles out. We didn't have the exact angle on it, but I mean, it was probably the hook of legends. Like, John's probably snickering at his PC at the moment.
Yeah, I think abduction is the right word. It does feel like an alien abduction. Oh, okay. This is just annoying. There's no need to do this. Leave them alone with your hyper beam. So John. Well, he's going to fall off the bridge there, keeping the pressure on. We have the urn, of course, that looks to be ready from Saya's point of view to deposit it, but he is not able to. This defense coming on through from Sneaky Golem, the presence, the positioning around the urn drop off makes it impossible. And in the meantime, you've got pressure coming in the walker. That's going to force a response there. from the melee creeps, the Sneaky Golem side, that they go and defend that. And in the meantime, here comes the bird in as this aggression starts to meet the walker on the left side. And it's starting to walk itself back here.
Did you hear the flushing sound? It was the sound of Singularity going down the toilet. Rocker thought he had a split-second catch. I think it was a little bit out of range, had to instantly cancel the Singularity. So no Singularity and a big problem on the follow-through. It leads to both Rocker and Rocane falling on the back end. 2 kills in a middle that's wide open for melee creeps now to grab mid-boss and firmly put themselves ahead of this game, should they want. But it's still a bit of a skirmish here around in the middle.
Well, they're able to escape, but the fight continues here. Sneaky Golem getting pushed back. Melee creeps looking to get a couple of decisive kills. And again, they've got that mid-boss to fall back onto if they want. They are carrying across the urn as well. They're going to deposit the urn. They also get the mid-boss here. That's going to be devastating for Sneaky Golem.
I'm sorry, Jim. I need to jump in here because Sketchy JJ donated $100 towards the prize pool, put us at $13.40 on this week. If you guys are interested in donating to the prize pool, all the proceeds go directly into this. You can type !donate in the chat. Once again, big thank you to Sketchy JJ.
Absolutely love to see it. You can see the bar in the upper right, and that is going to our teams here today. We provided the 600 for both regions, 1,200 total. Of course, also from the money that we've gotten from you guys on subs, Twitch, everything else. You know, not possible without your support. But if you want to add a little bit more to the prize pool, you can see it up there, and yeah, you'll get a shout out on top of it. But yeah, I mean, with that last fight there, Dan, the thing that sucks the most for Sneaky Golem is that when you're building this comp that, you know, is kind of heavily based around getting dynamo value, to drop a Singularity and get nothing and have to insta-cancel, it's one of the worst things that can happen to your game tempo.
Headed to blue.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do against it. And I mean, it feels like the game might be getting into a state where it's just going to keep getting worse. I know that you said that there's that comeback potential, and I agree. And it's going to come down to if melee creeps can avoid what is the kind of one condition that they lose the game, which is that Singularity, or rather the chain gang into Singularity. And you can see the setup here, Billy hiding to be able to find a good way to come in. Once he understands where the enemies are positioned, he can land the chain gang, and then it's just a chain reaction after that in terms of what his teammates have to do.
But also, maybe get some expansion in there if you're playing around chain gang. Maybe eat a creep, because right now your cultist is not active. You need to, you know, eat a little bit before you go for it, because the ability of range on that for hydration right now actually is bad. And that's the one issue I have with the build that, you know, hydration is going with here at the moment. I mean, it'll be better once he eats a creep with cultist, but if you're putting all this into, you know, effectively the Billy Dynamo Wombo combo, make your chain gang more likely to actually hit.
Well, this could be an opportunity. The mid boss, everyone collected in the pits. If there was a spot for a chain gang, this is it. In comes Billy, looking for that one, straight into the pit. Everybody diving on in. The bird comes through, and all the Reju crystals secured by melee creeps. A Sneaky Golem, there is no wombo combo. There's nothing except retreat.
The timing was too good. Melee creeps looked at the cooldowns and said, hey, we got a window to do this before Singularity is up. We don't want to do mid-boss when Singularity is a threat. We're going to drop mid-boss right before, but have it so close that Sneaky Golem still feels like they want to try and contest. They contest. It is a complete disaster. And now Melee Creeps firmly has the game in their hands.
I feel like Saya has been playing really well this game. Do you get that feeling too?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had Saya on camera that much. When we do, we see Saya not only having ridiculous movement for the most part, getting out of situations that would normally kill other paradoxes, but just being very consistent with getting in and getting high value off Carbine, off Swap, or even Wall, where you think you're deep behind enemy lines, and yep, I'm just going to time the Wall. I know when the last was coming in, because, you know, Saya's most played hero is still probably Holiday, you know?
Yeah, it just seems like he is having such a crazy impact, like just playing so many Razor Edge situations quite perfectly. And he was leading on Souls for the longest time too. So still up there at 24k. D&B taking over now with 26. And there's a sizable difference now for these teams. 30k lead is what it's grown to for melee creeps. So they got the 3 rejuve crystals, so they can just clean up the map a bit. And right now, all of the neutrals are cleaned up towards the base of Sneaky Golem. So Sneaky Golem are going to have to risk going out further afield and getting picked to just get any farm at this point.
Well, one good news for Sneaky Golem. If they grab the urn, it is going to be in their territory. The downside is that getting the urn is not going to be easy because melee creeps are rightly controlling motion of the urn. But I don't love this for melee creeps. Like, if melee creeps tries to force turn in here, this is, even with rejuve, if they get hit by a chain gang singularity combo, this is one of the few areas where they could just outright lose even with 3 charges. So for me, I want to see Hydration's point of view. I want to see Hydration set this up. We're all in on the GOAT one way or another. Observe-wise, they don't even want it. They don't even want it.
They don't care. They actually don't care.
Time tricks? Other time.
Well, they're going to defend in the base instead.
Can't waste time.
There's a hyper beam coming on through, taking down the Guardians. Just waving it around. That's what it looks like when
Hello.
it's like if you ever had like a laser pointer for a cat. It's kind of like reminds me of that.
Honestly, it reminded me of the Tarkov cheating video when people were like waving at each other from across the map. Is like, I'm a cheater. Oh, you're a cheater. All right, that's cool, bro. Like, let's not fight. The wiggle, I think it was called in that video.
Damn, I missed that. Well, this game is going to feel pretty rough here for Sneaky Golem right now because the base is getting assaulted. Still the rejuve crystals available. Massive burst damage. Bird sent in again here, ZP.
Well, you got the chain gang come in, and Rocker was ready to fall through, except Rocker died. Yeah, Rocker just fell over and got bursted. So not only is there no combo, but the patron is about to get annihilated. The upside for Sneaky Golem is that it's early enough in the game that the players are going to be back up. And I will say this for melee creeps, do not all in. Do not all in versus Dynamo. I don't care that you have 3 rejuves, that it may work out. It may even be in your favor. It's a higher risk than fish out otherwise, but okay, game's on. Here we go. Rocker jumps into the pit. Singularity is there. How many did he grab? Is Falter going to be there? Damage still coming on the patron from all sides. I don't think it was big enough, and it's going to be melee creeps hanging on, defeating the combo, and Rocker's the first one gone. Dan, I don't think we're seeing Dynamo again.
Dynamo's dead. He's gone.
Ain't no one talking about Dynamo. Everyone's talking about Arvis Roke with another $15 donation towards the prize pool for this week. I think he also put, come on, melee creeps, win this 1 and 2. I think that's the comment that was in the actual donation. But you know what? Maybe out there disagree with it. Maybe you should donate with your comment of saying, no, Sneaky Golem, take it to a map 3. But melee creeps, gentlemen, making it look almost all too easy. Obviously, the Dynamo's a pick we don't see too often. There's generally a reason we don't see it too often. We're always happy when we do see it get picked. But melee creeps did not really worry too much about it here.
It just, I saw the theory, I saw the vision. I think, again, maybe you itemize a little bit differently for it, but I think the theory versus the practicality can be pretty difficult. I mean, even towards the end where, you know, Dynamo Singularity into defending final stage patron is like one of the biggest threats Dynamo has, and I don't know, I guess the reality is you can just kind of play around it, and melee creeps had no fear, finishes off the game, and, you know, that fight right there that we just quickly zipped through, that was the last point. It was relatively even for Sneaky Golem, and, you know, they weren't able to land the combo, and they were on the back foot ever since.
Yeah, we didn't get to see. We just did not get to see the vision, and I guess we saw glimpses of what they were trying to do. We were kind of right about it from the draft, but at the same time, it just, practically speaking, it just wasn't worth the squeeze. The juice was not there. It was dry. It was an arid wasteland instead, and that's a nice grab. Yeah, he gets grabbed again.
Well, we ended up
wrecked.
We ended up grabbing out another 15 into the prize pool from Purple Tiger X, who says, you know what, Dan? I don't want to see you getting sniped by Mystic Shot over at a Walker anymore. So, you know, Dan, I think you have to fix that one yourself. Again, another $15 donation over towards the prize pool. Thank you so much for that one. But I think the one problem with wombo combos and the vision of kind of not putting all your eggs in one basket, but needing to hit a certain combo to win games. If you don't hit the combo, you lose. It's just kind of as simple as that, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, they had league farming up at 27,000 souls, but I think that's why we don't really see wombo combos too often. Just had to show that another time here. Yeah, and he also maxed his hook first. Sorry, he maxed his uppercut first so he could double hook.
It was worse than that. The second hook pulled him over the zip line, forced him on the zip line, and then he got stunned on the way down off the zip. That's why I think we got the Rocker. It wasn't the initial hook that pissed Rocker off. It was the forced zip line stun off the second hook. That Rocker's like, okay, man, whatever.
Also, McTitty Sprinkles 3539. Thank you for the Prime. Or if you guys do have Prime, it is a new month. You can give it to us here on the stream. All the money goes directly back into this one and not into our pockets. So take a look here at the match results from this last game. A pretty hefty 40K solely for Melee Creeps and Sayorsi Shuffle with 45 donation. Had to make it even. Thank you so much, man. Another, well, man, woman, whoever you are, what do you identify as, of adding this into the prize pool for all of our teams in EU and North America to play for. But taking a look though at like builds and everything that we're seeing, Ido put out 22k damage on the Greytown, which is great to see. I know you talked ZP before about saying like you think Greytown still is very valuable and still is a very good hero at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see why GT fell off in terms of priority to some of the other options that people have been playing in game, but I mean, GT's general kit is still really, really strong. I mean, you're talking about Owl is one of the better map presence tools, both for pickoffs immediately as you hit 3.4k into just fixing lanes later in the game, into having it be for recon. Still hits really hard. Maybe not as hard as it was pre-nerf, but GT does quite a bit of damage from the backline. I think maybe an overreaction from the players and GT being exiled to the Shadowverse for weeks and weeks as he was.
What's your thoughts, Dan, looking at Sneaky Golem's side? If you look at the breakdown of souls across the team, neutrals, I mean, you had Rokid at 24%, and then you had League at 16%. It seems like neutrals were definitely funneled into those two heroes, but not necessarily like evenly distributed across the team if you compare them to Melee Creeps. So I guess you technically can talk about as they were denying it away, invading.
Yeah, I think the map control was just not there for Sneaky Golem. I think that's really that's what that tells to me of the story of the game is that the map control wasn't there. So they were mostly getting invaded and pressured, and they weren't able to put much time into farming. And if they were able to do that, a lot of their farmers was, I think, getting hit up by their opponents as well. So just kind of that just gets a bit out of hand as you get to that mid to late game. Like CP said, that was that one inflection point with that one fight with the Chain Gang Singularity, which is, I think, a kind of a must-win fight, and to kind of change the macro in favor of Sneaky Golem for a little bit. They didn't manage to do it, and it's a super fast game, so there's no time to come back.
By the way, I do think that's probably the key problem with Dynamo, where Jason brought up is that, okay, the problem with focusing on combos, you don't land the combo, you lose. I think the problem is that the way Dynamo is statted right now, like however you want to put in game design terms, like where you've put the power in his kit, he's so over-kitted to Singularity doing things that if Singularity doesn't do things, he feels really, really bad. And, even if you look at heroes like, say, Enigma and Dota, right? Like, it's a hero that doesn't need to land a huge black hole to have value. So I think the problem with Dynamo is, like, you have to get Dynamo to a spot game balance-wise where you respect a lot of what Dynamo is doing with his kit, even if you get lesser value out of the ult. It's too much in the realm of you need the ult to be big, and if the ult isn't big, you lose. And other characters have big ults and still do a lot, even if the ult doesn't do that much. And that's kind of, I think, the real problem Dynamo's in right now.
I have to do this to you guys again. Big Duck Energy coming in with another 20 bucks with his note of Quack. And False DL with another 25 as well. So another 50 out of the prize pool here. 25 for EU, 25 for NA. Thank you guys again so much for all your contributions into this one. We're putting up 1,200 every week out of the 2K we were doing normally before, until we find a new sponsor once again and bring in the big bucks for all the players out there. Every dollar you donate goes directly to the teams, just to remind you guys once again. But thank you to False DL and Big Duck Energy. But taking a look forward now, Dan, into the next match, I'm assuming probably not having Dynamo picked up once again. Are you expecting maybe more of like a, I mean, it sounds BM to say this, but more of like a normal pick coming through for Hydronation? Or Sneaky
I'm sure something much more conventional is going to come through from them. They've got to win out now. So I don't know whether it's you or ZP that said this looks experimental, and obviously, the experiment has been run. It's horribly failed. So you got to go back to what works. So I would expect to see much more conventional draft now.
I think it was GP that said it. I don't really say things that are that smart to be honest, normally most of the time. But ZP, we're actually not even going to be heading to a break here. We have the draft ready to go, so we're going to just straight up run it here. So any expectations of adaptations out of Sneaky Golem in this game?
Well, they have first pick. They might ban Bebop, like, especially given the fact that Rocker normally does the draft. I feel like the mental boom of getting hooked across the map and then forcibly pulled over a zip line for a stun. No, okay, they still banned Kelvin. Okay, Rocker did not allow that experience to go full into the absolutely hate draft John again. But
I have to ask Dan. I'm so sorry if you want to make the other point, ZP, go ahead, because mine's gonna be completely off topic.
No, I was just gonna say maybe they first pick Bebop for Goober, but we'll see.
Okay, Dan, I have a question for you.
Yep.
More time.
I think you know what it's gonna be too.
I think I
can see you smiling.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Can we see this vessel that you were drinking?
So this
out
is
of?
not the same one. I know it looks. Yes, this is. See, like there's no bride on this one. It's just a regular pink.
Oh,
vessel.
okay. If you guys,
When I
missed out on the
first drank
Halloween
it, I knew you were gonna ask that.
if you missed on the Halloween episode, and of course ZP with the what if we get a Diet Coke sponsorship, ZP, and we get a crate of Diet Coke sent to us each?
I mean, that will cover maybe a quarter of my consumption every month. You know, every little bit helps.
Gosh. If you guys missed the Halloween episode we did just 2 weeks ago, Dan was in his amazing Viscous cosplay. First of all, drinking out of a cup that said Bride, and apparently I learned it's his favorite cup that he has.
Only run from the law for so long.
Okay. Well, we do have Paradox being banned away from melee creeps since Sneaky Golem had first pick, and they go for the Yamato. On the other side, we will be seeing, it looks like Sai on Holiday once again. Actually, I say that we're not confirmed on that because I believe John did play it last week.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, with Paradox not being available, I would guess it probably will be Saya. I mean, Saya has the most game time on the hero overall. I think when we saw John on it, Saya was playing the Paradox. So unless something else goes in the Saya's hero pool, I would expect to see Saya on the Holiday. I mean, giving up Holiday Shiv for Yamato, I'm not, I'm seeing that trade. I'm not loving it. I think bare minimum here for Sneaky Golem, you either pick the Bebop or deny it in mid-stage bans. I think they need to pick the Bebop, though, because you think about it, you have two big playmaker heroes off the table right now. But the weirdest thing about this is that if they pick the Bebop, it means that it has to be Goober on the Bebop. It will not be anyone else on Bebop in all likelihood. And so it won't be the Goober Viscous. Very interesting how this plays out in terms of who's playing what.
Nice. But I love that we get to see Viscous, though. You know, I feel like that's Sneaky Golem's like bringing out the big guns. Mina coming in again.
I don't like it. I don't like the Mina. I don't think Mina is that valuable early in the draft. I don't like this part of the Sneaky Golem draft.
How's Infernus made it this far through as well? I would think Infernus over Mina would be a much smarter pick for Sneaky Golem because you also take it away from DMB.
And Ricane gets to play it.
Don't you worry.
And it's great against the Shiv, too. It's like usually really nice. So, okay. I mean, melee creeps are going to have Page available probably. That's definitely something I think that they're going to want to prioritize. I could see Sneaky Golem if they're not banning Bebop, banning Page, but I feel like you have to ban Bebop, right? That's got to be priority number one.
I think they need to pick Bebop. Like, if you ban Bebop, you've left yourself with no playmakers. Like, maybe you end up going Mo and Krill, and you have Hydration play Mo and Krill, which is one of his comfort heroes. But I don't love it. I actually think they need the Bebop here. Just because you think about recent memory, how many times have we seen a team win a game without either Paradox, Holiday, or Bebop on your team? You usually need one of them. I mean, you go far enough to pass, maybe you pick a Lash, but I don't think you pick a Lash right now.
Well, the Great Talon being banned out, some unit can play a little bit safer, not worrying about the poke like we saw last game with Ido. But as you are saying, ZP, Bebop is available, and Dan, I kind of agree with ZP here. If you take Bebop from melee creeps, not only do you get in John's hands, but you also deny the pick potential from Sneaky Golem.
Maurice and I got your back.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Super interesting. So, I mean, you got to do it, right? This has to be the one pick. The time you got to pick it right now.
Yeah, if you don't pick Bebop in the next two picks, I really don't know what Sneaky Golem is doing here. I think, look, you can win with whatever draft, but it's not going to be good. Like, okay, they go Geist. Hopefully Bebop. I can see a world where they go Abrams here, though, too, because you need a hydration hero, and they probably want something more for frontline, but God, I don't love it.
You could go Bebop, and then you have Goober play Bebop, Hydration play Viscous. And then you deny 2 picks away from John, right?
Sure.
And then he has to play Warden.
What are we standing around for?
Oh.
Let's start breaking shit.
That was hydration ability, right?
It was, yeah, in the last game.
Okay, there you go. So he seems like he's gone off of Calico, because that was a flavor of a couple weeks for hydration.
I'm looking at this, and I do not like the Sneaky Golem draft here. Like, this is... But we'll see. I mean, look, anything can work. I'm not trying to be too doomer, but from how they've drafted here, I don't even know if they're going to go for a Bebop last. Melee Creeps themselves, they don't have to go for it, but they could pick it now. Like, this is their final pick coming through. The actual pick potential for Sneaky Golem is going to be really hard if they don't get something there at the end. Okay.
John's on Holiday, Saya's on Viper. Let's go.
This is actually really dangerous because
I feel like now we have to talk
plays
about
pretty
Viper
well against-
Pregnancy Enjoyer, right? In chat.
I mean, Jason, this is a good game for it, right? I know that you like Viper a lot. Like, isn't Viper going to be pretty sick against this lineup?
I feel like one of my hands belongs.
I honestly, I've not played Viper. I played a ton of Viper when it was Gun Viper, but now we've seen the shift over towards Spirit. Very like bursty. Your Petrifying Bullet can do some serious work, especially against a team that's grouped up like a Yamato, Viscous, Geist, Billy, and Victor. I feel like there's definitely some good potential. The burst potential to your Lethal Venom as well to finish someone off. I just wonder, is Saya well versed enough in Viper right now to make it work? Because he was raging like hell this morning when he was playing at 5 or 6 a.m. But who wouldn't when you're playing ranked at 5 or 6 a.m. with the caliber of teams that you get? But ZP, I can see you got something to say about this.
I don't really believe in the Viper, but I think with the overall draft, it may not matter. I don't know. I think the Viper is like kind of a rough finishing pick for Melee Creeps, where Viper is still a little bit more in the theory land. Like, we haven't actually seen Viper hit real potential in comp games. Like, the best Viper has looked in comp over the last 2 months has actually been early game. Like, we've seen some really good lanes with Viper, but, you know, the idea of don't worry, Viper will carry late game, trust, has not materialized at the competitive level. And even in the pub level, at like, you know, the mid ascendant into Eternus pubs, you'll have Vipers, I'll be like, don't worry guys, I'll carry. And it does not happen. So I'm a little bit worried for Melee Creeps there, but the rest of the Melee Creeps draft is phenomenal. Meanwhile, for Sneaky Golem, they've chosen a draft that's bereft of pick potential. So if they don't come just really hot out of the laning phase and keep an advantage, staying in the game for Sneaky Golem is going to be really hard. So I think, you know, while Viper spoils it a little bit for Melee Creeps, I still like the Melee Creeps draft more of the two teams.
I think, Dan, the biggest thing I worry about right now is, can Goober pop Saya, the Viscous v Viper? Obviously, Viper's very fast, very mobile with the sliding, but the damage you saw Goober do in up against Bunny with Clock was ridiculous. And if Saya is in fact playing Viper, or whoever's on Viper, if you can't dodge this flying, majestic, leaping goo ball at you, I don't think you survive the damage that's coming your way.
Well, the other thing too to bear in mind is that Scuba did hit some pretty solid power spikes pretty quickly, because he got in such a good trajectory very early on. So I think if Melee Creeps are able to avoid that by just having a more competitive lane against Scuba, so he's not getting so far ahead so quickly, that should mitigate some of that. But I do think ultimately, I don't doubt Goober's capacity to get on top of the Viper and just outmaneuver him with his Viscous shenanigans and still destroy him.
I will say, as part of a draft explanation here, I do think it's a little bit of a hero pool thing for Sneaky Golem, where they do have other people that can play Viscous, but no one that can play Viscous at the level that Goober's playing or in the style that Goober's been playing it. But if you have Goober on the Viscous, you can't put Goober on the Bebop, and Goober is by far the best Bebop that Sneaky Golem has. So I think that's why the Bebop didn't come in, and we'll see if the faith in Viscous pays off.
That is true, and we are heading into potentially the final game of the night. But if you want to see more, why don't you donate to the prize pool, or maybe use your Prime sub here on the channel. All of it goes right back into the night shift. If you donate, it goes directly into the prize pool for this week. It's Melee Creeps up against Sneaky Golem, currently 1-0 for the boys from MC. Let's see how things are going to break down with DDK and ZP.
Okay. What is the way forward, ZP? What is the, if you're the general, I want you to be the general for both teams and give me your marching orders.
I mean, I'm looking pretty deeply at the laning phase here. I think for Sneaky Golem, step number 1, win your lanes. Viscous Mina lane, actually pretty good. I think I give them the edge and right. I look at mid lane, I mean, Yamato, Geist versus Viper Holiday. I mean, theory, I like their lane a little bit more, although depending on how the Viper's played, like Viper can be a bit of a lane bully early on, so I think there are some outs where melee creeps wins mid. But traditionally, I would say it's a Sneaky Golem win. So they have at least 2 lanes that are looking good. The Victor lane, I mean, it's up against Mo and Furtus. That may just be a draw. So I think for laning phase right now, I do like what Sneaky Golem has on the whole.
I'm all in on Sire's Viper. I want to see like a solid Viper game because we had it in EU.
He's all in on back to base, by the way.
I respect it. It takes confidence to go back to the base and heal. I'm just going to basically flip anything that he does into making it sound as good as possible.
Well, it's fine. Like the check from Viper Pregnancy and Joy are cleared. Like that's what you have to do. It's just business.
To be fair as well, you know, his teammate making sure that the creeps stay alive so that he can actually farm them. Unlike literally everyone I play with in ranked, who will be like, oh, I will kill these creeps as fast as possible so my teammate gets more behind.
Yeah, that is unfortunate sometimes where, like, ideally you don't want your teammate to get too far behind, but you got the devil on your shoulder that just says, but you know, they're not in lane. Like, all the creep value can be yours. Just do it.
To be fair, in ranks, my assumption is that my teammates always trash and worse than me and that I deserve the extra souls. So that's the game theory of it, ZP. I guess it's just game theory, isn't it?
If they were better, they would be in lane and alive.
There it is. Okay, I'm convinced. I am so sold by that argument.
Just anything to justify. Also, the Venom out, Rocker in danger, and Rocker down. And that's where Viper could snowball out of nowhere in the laning phase. Just the power of Venom to execute.
It is kind of nice when they're like low enough. It's just like that you just know if it lands. So yeah, they're dead. Just walk away. Walk away from the fights with the full knowledge that you are superior. And this is a decent start then for Sire so far with the Viper. A lot more work to be done. Might have to go back to base again, getting kind of low on HP, and he's not got any healing items. So, ouch! Oh my God, 6 HP.
How do you know death is approaching? 6 HP and Yamato has tethered me. Goodbye, world. Maybe a bit of a punish, though. You had the Shiv rotation over. Able to take down League, so some lane shenanigans coming in here from melee creeps. As Viper is swapping off to the right. So Shiv rotates the middle to shore up what was soon to be a lost middle lane. And Viper now is going to the right-hand side.
Trying to force out some parries, the sound cues. Ido is on the Shiv this game. I don't think we've mentioned that just yet.
Ido, 3.2k on the Shiv. And overall lanes, swapping the Shiv to middle has been pretty good. I mean, it changed the overall flow from what we saw there because it was Geist and Yamato just fully pushed up. Now, you know, Shiv and Holiday at least holding serve and preventing mid from being a very quick mid take from Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, that's really a great call out because that mid guardian is extremely low. One more push will do it from Sneaky Golem. So
that's getting bullied. I'm looking at the HP on the right hand side, and Saya just was a little bit far up and lost 75% of his HP on the Viper. So mid lane, right lane, doesn't matter. It's been a tough game so far for Sai, I would say. Going back to even the very beginning where Sai had to immediately go back to base.
Yeah, that's true. It's not been the most straightforward starts, but okay. Rising Ram to try to escape. And we are out. Victor, AVG, does have the reanimation, resurrection.
A shocking reanimation, you might even
say. Okay, shocking reanimation. Right, that's the one.
Ooh.
A couple pickups there from Sneaky Golem. Nice chase down. Oh yeah, so he's having the rough end of the stick.
There's been nothing to enjoy about Viper this game so far for Melee Creeps. It is... I mean, look, I appreciate the attempt, but okay. Chain Gang over in enough to pull in DMB, get the quick finish, and are you going to be able to get out, though, Hydration? 200 HP? Looks A-okay, not something that Scout is really eager to dive into, so... Kind of going back to how we set it up here, Dan, we said Sneaky Golem had pretty good lanes on the onset, and they're executing on these good lanes. What is won was kind of expected to win, and it's what they need, I think, to make this work, given that they're running 0 pick heroes.
Yeah, that's a good thing to remind everyone about the 0 pick heroes. Aspects to the gameplay is going to make things a bit more challenging for sure. Mid lane hotly contested, but it really has shifted Melee Creeps' way. Good attacks coming on through though. League gets the shift down. Very weak. Ido's in trouble there. As the lasso comes on through, Ido with a quick assassination before getting taken out and traded. And still, it is the case though, that mid guardian for Melee Creeps, they are still keeping the creep waves away from it and protecting it.
I think the change-up was really, really good. Putting Shiv in the mid lane just stopped mid from going down in a wild snowball. The left lane has been very competitive for Melee Creeps at the very least, with the Moan and Furnace getting it down the half. I mean, the real weakness has kind of been the lanes that Viper has been in, but even the right-hand side has quieted down a little bit here, Dan. So, you know, for Melee Creeps, you stop things from wildly going against you, but eventually the Guardian does go down. In this case, backdoored by Rocker.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that a backdoor? That's awesome for Sneaky Golem to be able to pick that one up. In the meantime, though, Melee Creeps taking care of business here on the left side. Mo taking care of business and looking business whilst he's doing it.
And I'm just imagining him having taken care of business as his theme song. You just like, what is that sound? And you hear Mo with the boombox just rolling up, you know, mid-burrow.
Yeah, Mo's got aura. He's got the aura.
ZP, I'm sorry I have to come in here, but Zoduck donated another $10 to the prize pool just a minute or two ago. Big shout out to you, man. Thank you so much.
Gotta love it. We are $30 away from an even 1,500, and you know, all in all, a little bit less than what we normally have been able to do, but not a bad payday for those that win the game, of course. You know, that is being split between both regions. But we got ourselves a quick pause, and you know, game state wise here, Dan, obviously things started out really well with Sneaky Golem. They were able to contain the Viper, but Melee Creeps with some of the adjustments here, they've been able to even things back out, which, as we get a little bit deeper into the game, a pretty good omen given the fact that they are running a comp that is a lot more likely to get picks to put themselves ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really, really vital part of the game. And it is interesting when a team decides to forego it, because it seems like so central, you know, like the bans revolve around it all the time, for example, because there's not many heroes that have that quality. But hold that thought for a moment as we do get full frontal assault onto that mid guardian there. Sneaky Golem looking to defend and pushing Melee Creeps back here. Very under fire is Ido at the moment. And I don't know he's going to live through this one. So much damage coming out, and it is Rocket to get the best of Ido on that Shiv. So nice little win there for Sneaky Golem. And they keep their guardian in mid alive.
Also, Rocker maybe down for a little bit of roaming here. As I say roaming, more likely just going for Sinners. You know, it's at 8 minutes, Sinners are up, and at a bare minimum, you want to maintain control of your own. But instead, what if you had a Mo come in and say, no way? Shielding, though, gonna operate here for Rocker. Is it gonna be enough to free Rocker, though? The answer is no. So, you know, at 8 minutes, you know that the other team is looking to claim their Sinners, and it's a great inflection point if you have combo up as Mo to go to town.
So even, doing a Yoda impression, even we are. I don't know why, but that's a good sign. We don't have Dynamo in the game to ruin everything.
Nope.
So Sneaky Golem in a decent spot. The one thing that was interesting is the Victor prioritization. How Victor's not really thought about, it seems, as much at the moment. It's just like, you know, sneaking in as the 12th pick for Sneaky Golem.
I mean, Victor's still really good in the late game, and you know, if AVG gets ahead of the game in the way that AVG used to on heroes like Warden, it's going to be a big problem for melee creeps. The problem is that there's not a lot of ways to create opportunities to give Victor space to get ahead of the game with the comp that Sneaky Golem is playing right now. Like, Sneaky Golem just, they're fine at the moment, but they can't fall behind, because if they fall behind, they just don't have the tools to get back ahead of the curve again with what they're playing. So, you know, melee creeps, the amount of fights they need to win to get a decisive edge, it's quite low, the way that the shook out in the draft.
Well, there we go. Mid-boss roar, that's the 10-minute mark. Rich Bus come through. Lux Nostra coming out as well, getting stunned. Ido's just having a hell of a time so trying to get out of there. It gets taken out. He looked very confused, CP.
That was a Shiv not having a great day between the pull into the zipline stun. But off the confusion and the dead Shiv, Sneaky Golem going to get control of the urn, and they're just booking it right now. And actually, this may be a quick, we're just running it. They probably know that they have 2 members of melee creeps stuck on the left side of the map. If you're Sneaky Golem and you have this intel, I think you full send onto the urn here.
Yeah, but they're going to be 4 enemy heroes as well who are looking to deter this attempt. And you can see evasive maneuvers are engaged by Rocker. He's holding onto the urn for now. His teammates looking to try to buy him some space to get the deposit in. Here it comes. Jumping straight on the spot. Is there anyone to stop this? Nothing. Coming on through to prevent it. Sneaky Golem. Great job there. Picking up the urn deposit. And you know what? Melee creeps are going to fall off of that completely. So no skirmishing, really.
Kind of the trouble is that one of the best tools that they would have had to contest the urn wasn't online there. Petrifying Bola was already forced out a bit earlier, or was used offensively. Either way, no Bola was available, which otherwise could have really made that a very winnable fight for melee creeps.
Well, this is a dangerous moment here for DMB, looking to just whittle down the Walker on the pursuit, though. Geist causing problems, but in comes the reinforcements. Sneaky Golem actually looking quite great here on the response to that Walker push, and they might get a Guardian off of this. This left Guardian is still up, actually. This is going to go down quite rapidly now. In the meantime, there's a fight over the mid Guardian as well. Melee creeps finally looking to try to deal with this one. They're going to pick it up there. And, wow, big swing, I feel like, on the map right now, ZP. A 10k difference as well coming through for Sneaky Golem, who are taking a lead.
This is where Sneaky Golem has to be for their comp to work. They needed not to be even. They needed the crush lane phase, which they did, and then get a few good fights after. For a comp that's not running any pick potential, you like where you're at right now, and you're just going to try to like physically take space as groups of 2 and 3 head into the enemy jungle, go from there, and try and make the most of this advantage while you have it. Bola on the hydration, but I don't know if there's going to be much follow through there, especially not with Goober giving covering fire.
Yeah, DMB not close enough to close that fight down. Rocker, in the meantime, though, will deal with Saya, who fell from the roof. I do not advise falling from roofs.
Even as a lizard creature, it's probably not ideal. Also, look, I think it's a little bit debatable, the entire, Viper late game carry, but you know what's not debatable, Dan? Viper's definitely not late game carrying at 8.5k when the highest in the game is up at 14k. This is a broke Viper, but also understandable given all the early game laning struggle that Saya had this game.
Yeah, that's makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I felt like we saw like some promise, but as soon as that, like you say, that lane switch came in with a Shiv, it just ruined everything.
Yeah,
and pretty much put a stop to that.
Well, I mean, they said this while because Saya was just getting too poked, but okay. Lasso, and is there fall through on the Rocker? Rocker lands a parry, keeps it alive a little bit longer, but is still very, very dead.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, some of the gap is closing a little bit on the souls, and in terms of objectives, we are even on objectives, so there is still a lot of play, of course, for melee creeps to catch back up. It just really, you know, this is where Holiday, I think, comes in as an edge CP. Just the pick potential from Holiday, from Scout on the mode for the combos. There's the chain gang, though, coming in from Sneaky Golem. And there is that combo locking down the Billy. But where is the follow-up? Where's the teammates here? Warpstone out of the fight, repositioning, and in comes Ido from the side now. On the Shiv, killing blow lands, and there's another player extremely susceptible to just any more damage. This AVG, there is the reanimation, the shocking one, you might say, as he's still surrounded, and there's no combo to lock him down. And actually, actually they might just have a gentleman's agreement.
Well, Rocker came on in looking for scraps. It's still only 2 members of Sneaky Golem here on the left, whereas it's most of melee creeps. And Sneaky Golem's playing macro here. They have more presence in middle lane, more presence in the right-hand side, but maybe Goober comes on in and no, not quite. I don't think, I think melee creeps saw the macro situation that was evolving there and decided to pull back. Even though they could have greeted and maybe got a kill on the Rocker, it wouldn't have been worth what they would have lost in the other lanes if they had committed to that at that point.
Okay, so the game state it still seems fairly even. Still that spread of 7k between the two sides. It's like Ido is pinging the Yamato on the map. It is looking to pursue this fight as well. Serrated blades are connecting. And in comes Goober, though, to be very disruptive. The bowler, though, is going to freeze him in motion just for a moment to allow Ido to take down Rocker. And there we go. Jump pad, wall bounce, a zip line later. And the fight has been disengaged.
Earn control in for Sneaky Golem, but comes at the cost of Rocker. Also, you know, I just quickly looked at chat as, you know, chat was saying Saya is actually just being a top tier role player. The consensus being that it is lore accurate that Viper is a very poor girl failure. Essentially, just, you know, her money troubles are well documented in the voice lines, and I mean, it is true. No lies.
Really? This is just a broadcast lizard.
She's a criminal, but she's very bad at being a criminal.
Huh, interesting.
The opposite of Calco, who apparently is very good at being a criminal. But
makes sense. Checks out.
Earn deposit comes in, and melee creeps don't really like the way that the engagement was going forward. So again, more souls to Sneaky Golem, as they've been doing a great job of protecting their lane or lead from the laning phase.
Changan coming on through to suck him in. See if we can get a full up though. And oh my god, we're just stuck in the wall with the bowler. I'm not sure what's happening there, but Ido unable to escape once again. Ido's really been getting is on the struggle bus on the Shiv in this game so far. Sneaky Golem's 10k ahead on the souls, and they are looking commanding in these team fights at the moment. And they've got good map control right now as well, so they're going to go for them. Are they actually doing this? They're going for the mid boss.
I don't see why not. I mean, a lot of the contest ults that you would have when down people, notably Bola, it's off cooldown. Like, you actually need Bola to make this risky. You don't have Bola up. I don't think you want to go in here as melee creeps. Like, maybe you can go and try and steal one charge. You got the Mo up and over. First charge in the Sneaky Golem. Both charges the Sneaky Golem. One taken away by Scout, but he's immediately going to die in turn. So he dies. It actually was Viper that stole the rejuve charge and is also likely to go down again.
Goober rolling around. Goober being as annoying as possible. We'll get the kills traded out though. Melee creeps will lose 3 players thus far. Ray Kane is going to get some assistance as well. Oh no, this is very difficult to survive. Okay, DMB is going to get annihilated. And Sneaky Golem coming out on top again. So, I mean, there's a great contest though. You got to give it to them, ZP, because at least all the rejuve crystals are eliminated.
I think that's the most you can hope for. If you know you're outclassed at mid-boss, at least contest in a way that, even if you lose a little bit in terms of the kill trade-outs, that's better than dealing with a push of 3 rejuve crystals, which is almost certainly going to take down your remaining walkers, or 2 out of your 3 walkers. So, for what the hand they were dealt at that point, I think melee creeps played that about as well as you could in that situation.
Yeah, I agree. That could have been a pretty massive moment, but at the same time, it doesn't really, I suppose, help them in terms of where they have been losing the game of late. In most of these team fights, it seems like Sneaky Golem are just coming out ahead and ahead each time. Don't think they've been on the end of a losing team fight in quite some time now. We go to a 15k separation on the souls now, so doubling from the previous 7k.
The important thing here, too, is you kind of have this sword hanging over your head when you're up against Victor of time until Victor hits 35 to 40k. AVG is going to get there eventually if melee creeps don't get a decisive fight. And the Victor, if they don't have... I mean, okay, John, when farmed, in theory, could chunk the Victor. But it's putting a lot on Gun Holiday to even up the difference when you're dealing with an otherwise immortal Victor at that point in the game. if you're melee creeps, you don't want to deal with that at all. You want to get your advantage back way before then. But the way the game has been being played and the way things have been traded out, Sneaky Golem, they're exactly where they want to be.
The other thing too about the Holiday is that you need to have other threats on the team, so the Holiday's not going to get focused. And there's a bowler. They'll be connected to try to make this fight work out here for melee creeps. Nox Nostra on through as well as Sneaky Golem look to fight back, and they're looking pretty good on the health overall here in this fight. Scout's very, very weak, as is Ido yet again. Ido struggling to survive in these fights on the Shiv. Ido will take down League though, but there are the trades inevitably from Sneaky Golem. 1 for 2, 1 for 3. There's another pick comes on through. Ido finally finished off. And indeed, it really feels like for the Shiv, we have to put focus on the Shiv, right? ZP is so highly valued at the moment, and Ido is far behind at the moment.
I think the other problem too, though, I mean, with the comp melee creeps, you have a lot of people competing for farm where, okay, lasso underneath the walker. Does hydration care, though? The answer may surprise you. Knocks up Holiday and gets walker, leaves. Does not care one bit at this stage in the game. But overall, Dan, you look at the melee creeps roster and you have a lot of people that want farm. You don't want your Viper to be broke. You don't want your Shiv to be broke. But on the same note, Holiday is arguably the best gun carry in the game at the moment, and Infernus is the definition of a late game hero. Not all of these heroes can have farm. There's not enough souls in the game unless you are outright stomping the other team, in which case it doesn't matter. So comp-wise, you can take a little bit of issue with the comp that melee creeps have drafted here, because not everyone is going to get what they want.
Yeah, and it's... Ooh, Victor's getting focused. It's okay, so now the teammates come on in, and it's going to be pretty hard to finish off AVG. Reincarnation's been burned away at least, which is nice, but they have to completely disperse away from this fighting position. So, okay, in theory, ZP, if they can even stay behind, like let's say the lead doesn't grow more than 15 to 20k, is there a point at which, you know, we have enough souls on a Holiday, on an Infernus, that they can still be competitive even if they're trailing by 20k souls like later in the game?
I think it really depends on the Holiday, and I would actually argue the Mo, because Mo Holiday does have some of the biggest blow-up potential in the entire game. Like the way Crackshot scales, as Ido just gets ruined again in middle. But the way Crackshot scales, you can burst someone down in combo harder with Holiday than any other hero in the game just because of guaranteed headshots and resets. But I don't know. It's a tough ask unless you get the perfect teamfight setup. Sneaky Golem is a lot more likely to just run at you and win.
Well, John's doing a good job so far on the soul allocation. 30k richest person on the server. And he's going to take down Rocker as well. So winning that battle. Right now, the urn is being carried across here by DMB. Melee creeps need this. They've got to hold on to this position around the urn deposit. Let's see if they're able to do it here as Sneaky Golem look to try to defend. Uber getting in on the action there with the Viscus, gets fought and battled back away. And still this area is under control by melee creeps here. Looking quite strong at this point. Uber with the burst damage. Still causing problems right above the deposit spot. So this urn not looking to get turned in anytime soon, but no. Hydration stole it. He picked it up. Everybody had left. Able to sneak the deposit through.
Now can you get any form of punish here from melee creeps off Sneaky Golem? You get AVG. Burning through both lives of Victor, but once more, Ido just left out to dry, just getting goose shots to the back. Oh, and gets Saya for good measure thereafter. Goober just executing members of melee creeps left, right, and center, and the timing here is pretty tough here, Dan. Mid-boss up in 28 seconds, and if you're Sneaky Golem, yeah, members of melee creeps are going to be coming up, but you can camp mid-boss, burst it down on spawn, and have what should be a game-winning advantage.
Man, Goober is actually so crazy on the Viscus. It feels very dangerous, CP, in these fights where, you know, it's a bunch of skirmishing. You see a moment where Goober kind of disappears a little bit and then just finds someone 1v1 and then just burst them. And there's just like nothing that they can't even react in time. It's so powerful.
All right, well, mid-boss being taken, no surprise here. And you look at the map, you know, you wonder, is there any way melee creeps can somehow mitigate some of this? I'm kind of looking as Infernus kind of in range, maybe Okay, DMB are going to do concussive combustion and try to steal a charge here. All right, he is. Here comes Infernus over in combustion. Gets one charge. And that'll probably have to be it. The welcoming party is going to be there, and DMB will quickly be dispatched back to base. So the rest goes down here. And okay, the contest gets a few charges out. Melee creeps again, able to make the most out of a bad situation here, Dan. Sneaky Golem down one. Melee creeps back up to full strength. It was looking rough for the beginning, but DMB created a huge opening.
Yeah, this is actually looking a little bit sketchy here for Sneaky Golem. They are 40k souls ahead at the moment, but if they actually lose this fight, that could be a huge opening for Melee creeps to get back in, but they are starting to control the situation now. Nox Nostra from up top, coming through from Rokane to control the space. And that's going to secure another kill there for them as they chase down the stragglers. It seems like an off-balance scenario there for Sneaky Golem, but they managed to find their footing again. And they managed to escape the mid-boss. No rejuve crystals, but with 4 kills onto melee creeps.
The interesting thing is that, again, for melee creeps to contest, is about more than you could expect in that situation with people coming off respawn. DMB at a perfectly timed combustion even gets 1 charge off the stun thereafter. In an end, though, it may just be extending your fate where, okay, Sneaky Golem, they're not going to feel as empowered to just raw push with no rejuvenator. They are going to feel good about taking your entire map and sending AVG to the moon, souls-wise. Yeah. All the while, Saya, I think, has gotten 2k souls in the last 7 minutes. It has not been a great time for Saya on the Viper.
And the same thing, you know, a Calico who's at 19k for Fish Cake, so it's very hard at this. If you look at how much souls there are now for Sneaky Golem, like everybody's around 30k plus, and 19k Calico, just, you can't tank the fight, you can't do damage in the fights. I felt like you're almost becoming somewhat useless because your utility doesn't do much. So very tough situation. Nox Nostra coming on through. Oh my god, the burst damage comes from Goober as well. 60k difference in souls. That's a lot of difference.
You know, everything said about it's tough to play the game without pick potential. Conversely, Dan, it's tough to play the game when you're down 60,000 souls regardless what compositions you have at the moment.
Yeah, we got that Spell Slinger on the Geist as well, so the Geist is going to be doing unbelievable damage. So you can have your holiday. We have the Geist. We have got the almost 40k Victor, the almost 40k Mina.
John still a kill. It's funny, I was about to say John's still a kill threat as we see John just drop League. I mean, a 36k holiday at this point in the game can just, so long as you have someone in line of sight, you can get a kill. And okay, Sneaky Golem, they weren't entirely safe on their retreat. They give up 2. They punish DMB in turn. I have to credit melee creeps for finding, you know, kills in tough situations. The problem is, I just don't know if they could turn any of this into an edge or an opportunity at this point, Dan.
Yeah, I totally am with you on that one. It's might be a little too late. Too little too late. At the same time, you know, we saw quite a few moments where they were really doing a great job in like around the mid bosses. I think, you know, I feel like they did a great job, but it's just coming out the early laning phase, they weren't able to win any team fights. So I mean, you can't, if you can't win the fights when the game's even and you keep coming out behind, well, that's a great way to just be behind in the game.
Well, second stage patron is under assault. No rejuve, no problem. Melee creeps down for Sneaky Golem with overwhelming advantage here. They're going to take down the patron and bring us to a map 3. We figured the series would go to map 3, Dan. I don't know if we thought it would go to map 3 under the guise of a Dynamo loss and a Viper loss, but you know what? 3 maps is 3 maps.
Yeah, I'll take it, man. Anytime we get more action between these two teams is going to be always a good time. Even if Viper doesn't do too well and Viper Pregnancy Enjoyer might not enjoy that over in chat. But either way, we got to see Viper played. It's obviously some experimental stuff as we talked about before. Seeing Dynamo pick for Sneaky Golem, a little bit of experiment. Viper same now for melee creeps. As we move on into a third and final game of this series, we'll see how things will eventually play out. But ZP, you talked about something that was actually kind of interesting was the fact that like melee creeps were doing a pretty damn decent job fighting from being so far behind. And I feel like some of the decisions they were making, as we saw there towards the end, of going for pushes, you know, you're 60k behind, you have to do something, you have to look for these picks here or there. Comeback mechanics are insane, but it wasn't insane enough. And melee creeps do fall here in this last match. So a good start for Sneaky Golem to get back into this one. I'm wondering if we might see some change up in bans, though not necessarily. I think the Viscous was, I mean, it was good. Wasn't nearly as good as it was up against Bunny with Clock. But thinking back on the entire series here, maybe, Dan, where do you think the real tipping point was for Sneaky Golem to get that match under their belts?
Well, when Viper was picked, I don't know. I mean, I feel like ZP, I feel like you would have said the same thing.
No, I was. I mean, I would have said when we saw Viper go back to base a minute into the game, that was kind of that was sort of the omen of what would happen. And then, you know, the next part would be when Viper had to basically say, you know, pull their best Megumi impression and say, Maharaga save me, except in this case, it was Ido. It's like, Ido save me, go to my lane, as Viper has to swap lanes to not give up mid in under 4 minutes. I mean, look, there are scenarios where Viper can work. We have seen Viper work well in early lanes, but I think Viper as a hero also has like a tremendous failure rate if everything isn't perfect, and if she gets knocked off whatever momentum she has, and in this case it was very early in the game, it's really difficult for her to get back into the game and be a competent hero. And I don't know, it's just overall, you could argue the draft could have worked if the execution was different, but the execution wasn't different, and the one problem that most people saw in draft ended up being probably the biggest problem melee creeps had in this game, which is why they're not going to be picking Viper in map 3. I guarantee you that.
You guarantee that? How willing are you to guarantee that? Are you willing to put something on the line, maybe some eyebrows?
No, because the problem is that for melee creeps, they can throw a week if the actual thing is too much there. It'd be like, well, normally we wouldn't pick the Viper, but hey, I mean, this other thing is going on.
ZP eyebrow list, that would be worth it. I do actually wonder, maybe, Dan, taking a look at this, Saya, do you think he had adapted his build of going with the Bola max first, the Petrifying Bola, because he was so far behind? He figured, okay, I'm so far behind, I need to at least assist my team somehow, and I know trying to maximize Screwdrop Dagger is not going to be worth it, or Lethal Venom at this point. Do you think that was like a mid-game adaptation of him, or do you think that was the intended path to go?
Well, I wasn't even aware that that was happening, Jason. So I would say yes, and I think you're very smart for noticing that.
Well, the thing is, like, the Max String Petrifying Bullet is the only way you can make it AoE stun, or stun's not even technically the right word, to lock them down, to buy your team some time. I mean, thinking back to the mid boss where they contested the second one of the game, they almost won that fight when DB went in, got one of the steals. Like, it was extremely close, but the survivability of Sneaky Golem was allowing them to keep themselves in that fight. But taking a look at the match stats here, ZP, one thing we don't really see too often is a Victor having the highest objective damage.
I mean, look, AVG knew what his purpose was to accumulate souls and keep lanes pushed, and AVG did just that. I actually think there is a pipeline of former Warden mains into Victor mains from what we've seen in EU from players like Apocycle or Surgery. I think the Victor is a actually pretty good pivot for AVG, and while Warden right now is effectively unplayable from what we've seen in competitive results, I think the Warden or the Victor was a great pick here, especially for how Sneaky Golem won the win. I think they kind of got away with one not getting a playmaker hero and having things go well. I don't know if things go as well for them if Melee Creeps rounds out their roster a little bit more traditionally, or even, say, picks Bebop. Like, I think there's a world where Melee Creeps here could have did final pick Bebop, Saya on Holiday, John on Bebop, and it's a vastly different game. So, yeah, all in all, lack of playmaker aside, picking up the Victor, pretty good for Sneaky Golem.
And then, Dan, looking at League, I mean, one of the few Geist players we see. I don't think we have Geist really played in EU anymore. I think League is one of the, well, League and John, I think two of the only people who actually play it over in North America. Before we get to that, though, Alex Freeman coming in with $100 donation here directly into the prize pool. I think that takes us, what, 30 away from 1,600, if I can do my math correctly or can remember correctly. Big thank you for that one. Thank you so much again. All the donations that go into this go into the prize pool every single week. It does not go into our pockets, it goes directly to the players, to the winning team. And I forgot completely where I was going with this. Oh yeah, it was the Geist. What's your kind of thoughts on Geist right now? Maybe in the meta, or maybe in the lack of play we've seen out of her?
I think with Geist, obviously there's a lot of heroes that can kind of fit frontline or tanky kind of role. I think the thing that's interesting about Geist is that she does actually come online late into the game, especially with the Spellbreaker, into like kind of a scary damage carry as well. So it's interesting because I think when you're looking to design a roster, you need to figure out like, what pieces do we need, and you have to understand at what points of the game are they coming online, and kind of how does that sync with the rest of your approach. I think Geist is kind of good at every stage of the game, but I think there are better options that could be more synergistic with other things along the way in the kind of class of more of a front line that tends to be kind of where you'd find her, generally speaking. But I think Geist is still great, and I'm glad that we're seeing it.
And not to mention ZP, we don't really have one of those Giga Geist players like Goober on Viscous to draw a ban specifically for her. Is that maybe just due to the level of impact that she can have, or maybe what's your thoughts on that?
We'll get to the thoughts after the break because I desperately have to use the bathroom.
Well, you know what? That's your fault. You should have had a bottle. We're going to keep it here. We're not going to break just yet. We want to make sure ZP pees his pants. Now, we're going to let him go off air. We're going to head to a break since we didn't have it between game 1 and 2. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, the conclusion of night shift number 14 will be happening. Sneaky Golem up against Melee Creeps. Only one of these teams can win the prize. And we'll find out what it's going to be after the break. ZP has made it back from the toilet, bladder empty, and hopes high for an exciting map 3 in our final game of the day. Okay, I'm going to stop myself because I was going to go down a really weird hole here, and we don't need to do that because Viper Pregnancy and George does that enough for us. But as we're about to head into our final match of the night, I'm so happy to see Sneaky Golem make their way back into the finals, keeping things hotly contested between these two. But ZP, is it truly hotly contested? We had a Dynamo game 1 and a Viper game 2?
Jason, I just want to see some honest Deadlock here tonight. No more Vipers, no more Dynamos. You generally know what the good heroes are in the game. You now effectively have a best of 1 where you can play the meta and you can play stuff that's good. You've both given up your experimentation game, and that's fine. But it's game 3. Bring your very best stuff. And look, even if it worked in scrims or otherwise, I'll say for the game we just saw, Saya, please do not return the Viper on this last game. Otherwise, you may not be champion once more.
Otherwise, EP will not invite you back.
No, we're totally inviting them back. I mean, if there's nothing else, we're on the take from a certain.
ZP's going to talk to his dad and ground him or something. I don't know. Since you go back in the day with him. But as we do make our way through the first ban, Viscous, I mean, kind of makes sense. Take it away from Goober, force him onto something else. His Vindicta didn't look as good when we think back to the first game of this series. And I'm assuming Sneaky Golem, Dan, probably going to go for that Kelvin ban to follow up with.
I mean, I hope so. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Kelvin obviously didn't win today, right? An EU. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, but given the circumstance, okay, they banned him. So Kelvin now a distinct possibility.
Or Shiv, right? Because we've seen that people pick Shiv over Kelvin. We've seen that happen.
Yeah, on the same note, I actually think if they go Kelvin, responding with Shiv Paradox, pretty strong at the moment. Like about as strong as you're going to get as a response.
I'm not going to lie. I was not super impressed at Saya playing Kelvin. Not that he's a bad Kelvin, but it's definitely not one of the heroes that he actively practiced or has been practicing lately. And then for Sneaky Golem's side, I wonder, do you steal away like Paradox Bebop? Because Goober can play Bebop, and then that prevents them from getting any sort of pick hero for their side.
I like it. I like the way you're thinking, Jason. I think, well, no, the problem is you give up Kelvin Shiv. You can't. You actually have to pick Shiv.
But if they don't pick it in top 3 for Melee Creeps, then you could take it away.
Yep.
Well, they've given up the Kelvin Shiv. Is it overrated now?
Nope.
No, I didn't think so.
Shiv is still a top tier pick without Kelvin, and you've just said, hey, the boys are backing down. Like, this Okay, is it on the level of a Dynamo? I don't know, but you gave up still arguably the best lane in Deadlock, and what you've got in turn is Yamato, and I
mean, have you heard of the infamous Kelvin Viper lane?
No. Nor do I want
I like
to.
how Dan gave me like a and then ZP's like, you're an idiot, Jason. ZP keeping it honest.
I actually think Melee Creep should have picked Bebop there. Like, if they grab Bebop, I'd just be looking at this game and going, maybe over. I mean, I wonder the Mina pick here, how much of this is because you think Rokane's been doing well, and how much is it they just want to deny what Rokane has been playing? I don't know. I still feel like they'd be okay if letting Rokane pick Mina here, if that was going to come through. Instead, they go for the Victor because I think they're afraid of it getting banned in mid-bans. But bare minimum, I would like to see Sneaky Golem take out the Bebop here. I think it's a perfect mid-stage ban and gets rid of any true pick options from Melee Creeps.
Yeah, I think the Victor pick's really smart. I mean, it's actually interesting to see that, yes, it is very valuable, but it was just kind of like no one really thought of it until the 12th pick last time. So I think it's nice for them to secure that. So what are other like what worked really well for Sneaky Golem in the previous map, ZP, that you'd want to see them run back here? Because they've got a lot of it, you know, at least with the Yamato and the Victor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm thinking about last map overall. The Victor, I think, is a key part because you get AVG, a really good hero from the play on. They're going to have more pick potential with the Paradox. So you think about Rocker. Although the interesting part here is that who's going to be playing the Yamato? Because normally the highest priority for Rocker has been playing on the Paradox, but you have the Yamato get picked here. So is it going to be Rocker, Yamato, and someone else on the Paradox? You know, how that's going to shift over. I actually think it may be Goober on the Paradox in this setup. That's my guess.
Page is pretty nice, actually, especially because the ult goes through the Kelvin dome. So that's always a nice little detail about having Page, because there's not many abilities that will do that. But it is tough. Like, are we thinking Pocket? We haven't seen Pocket really come out here today. There's the Bebop. That's pretty expected. Doorman is also still available.
Doorman would be nice.
We haven't seen Doorman in NA yet.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird how he's been undervalued. I think, we saw in EU the level of power that Doorman can give you for objective control and going from there. But this is whoa, wait. But
Solomon,
John John's probably on your Bebop. Who's playing Warden on Melee? Oh God, no. I mean, you still have Kelvin Shiv, so your draft is still good, but
guys, we got to make a video of like just every time Warden's picks the last like couple months in Night Shift, and just ZP's box every time, like his reaction, because it's always great.
But why? Like, this isn't even a John hero pool thing. You got the Bebop. I don't.
Well, it seems like the CP doesn't approve. Chase.
No,
We get a Pocket though.
I mean, I'm not sure I approve either, to be honest.
Wow.
I feel like someone said they'll gift like 20 subs if Melee Creeps play Warden, and whoever the person is like, okay, I got you, fam, because they want the 20 subs or something. Okay, that's what's happened before with I think AVG did that back in the day, about a month ago.
When Billy first came out, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, this hero is unplayable, and then like later we're like, oh, actually he's OP.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
Help me out here,
Great talent
ZP.
comes in.
Who's on the Warden?
Let me think here. Hang on. I look at the. Okay, honestly, okay, it would be either DMB or.
I think it is DMB actually. Now that you mention it, because DMB was a Warden player.
I mean, also depending. I feel like Saya played it at one point way past, but Saya's probably on Kelvin here. But yeah, it's probably DMB Warden, which, I mean, look, DMB's a really good player.
So Ido played it before, but you've also got Smina. That's another potential Ido hero.
I mean, I assume Mina and GT are being split by Ido and Fishcake, if I had to guess, or even Ido and Scout. Ido will be playing one of them for sure. But I
think Fishcake would be on Shiv, maybe. Scout will be on Great Talon. I don't know. We can theorize all we want. I think maybe what's also interesting for Sneaky Golem's side, if we think Goober's gonna be on Paradox, who's gonna be on the Vindicta then?
Well, for
This
Sneaky
is an
Golem-
interesting draft.
no, it's really interesting on both sides because there's a lot of ways it can go down. I mean, okay, well, hang on. Let me look back here. Who is League?
Well, you know what? While you're looking back on a ZP, you have some time here because I can proceed to fill as long as possible while we do load into the game for our final match of the night before we kick things off with the Graveyard Shift. You want to participate in the Graveyard Shift and ask some questions or listen to your favorite pro players, make sure you go check out our Patreon, sub on Twitch, or become a member on YouTube. We love you all, and it happens right after the show. You get your questions in directly towards the players and hear us talk a lot of mad shit about things as well. But it's Melee Creeps trying to defend their title. Sneaky Golem trying to take it away, and ZP gonna make me run out of breath before he figures out who's gonna be on who. Hopefully ZP comes in at any moment here to help me out because I am running out of things to say.
Just keep going. Like, I still have no idea in regards to it. So, you know, I was just gonna, keep going, keep going.
Well, he has no idea, but one thing I do know is we have the best community in esports, period, with all of you watching us, supporting 1,500 of you over on Twitch. I can't see who is over on YouTube right now because I don't have that many monitors, but all the support means the world to us. We love to be here week in and week out, and so do the players as well. They appreciate the support. And speaking of support, we got Paige, I'm not going to cast, what am I casting? And Yamato together. So Dan, ZP, take it away.
Yeah, we got some answers to the who's playing what, and it is going to be Scout on the GT, as we're theorizing. DMB is, in fact, going to be on the Warden. And, okay, Rocker, Paradox, and it's AVG this time around going to be on the Yamato. So, but that means, okay, they've put League onto the Victor, so you have a change up there where, hero pool-wise, they figured, okay, AVG can play a better Yamato than League, and that's a bigger priority, even though AVG did look pretty good in the Victor last game.
It did look pretty handsome. Who do you think is the most handsome agent hero? CP.
The most handsome.
Yeah.
Going in that. I mean, look, probably Abrams, man. Like, Abrams is great.
Abrams, what are you, Jason? I know you're there.
I mean, it's got to be Lash, right?
Ash. What about Victor?
Nah, I mean, I feel like the smell would be overwhelming. Like, you go next to Victor, and it's just like he's distilled essence of the final day of DreamHack at the PC area.
Jesus.
Not great.
All right, well, moving on, I guess, from that question. We do get Mina, Ido, sent out of lane. And Ido had a horrible time on Shiv in the last map. So you got that fish cake Shiv instead. And you're right, Guba, on the Vindicta. Okay, let's make predictions. Which lane do we think will fall first, and who will it fall in favor of? Like, which Guardian will go down?
Okay, looking at the lanes, I mean, Paradox, Yamato, and middle is probably a fair thing to bet on. Like, Paradox Yamato is still ridiculous, and Sneaky Golem is pounding middle at the moment. Nearly half the damage down on the Guardian. So even with the hook coming in from the left-hand side, and that also looking pretty good with the Bebop Warden lane, I still got my channel points on the Yamato Paradox.
All right, well, it's looking, as you just said, like, it's looking really insane for this left side lane at the moment. Under 3 minutes, that Guardian's very, very weak. Good extra damage coming with the uppercut there from John. And, I mean, Warden is still, like, good in lane. Like, still good laner. So, I mean, I know you guys are hating on the Warden, but I can certainly see how it could end up being quite practical, especially in this lineup, because Warden's kind of hard to kill. You got the Kelvin in the mix as well. You got the backline support from the GT. You got Fish Cake up there with the Shiv in their faces as well. Like, it's kind of it's nicely balanced
Also,
around the Warden.
If I had put channel points down there, safe. Paradox, Yamato, got mid lane, despite the damage being done here on the left. And I don't know, I think my problem with Warden is, like, his laning is still fine, like, and especially if you get an edge, you can chunk Guardians, as we saw. The issue is Warden demands a lot of farm. Like, he needs to be rich to have an impact, and the impact you get out of a rich Warden right now is a lot less than the other heroes that you want to get rich. So that's my problem with it overall.
And I saw a really fast Mystic expansion there on the hydration, by the way, for the captivating reads. Just like really guarantee those setups. It is very hard to connect them early on without any extra radius. So it makes sense. And Ido, or rather, I should say, DMB and John were just chilling pretty far up there on that left side lane.
I mean, it was all effectively from hooks. John was just able to land good hooks early on, and really any hero in that situation is going to feast. But I mean, Warden does have some snowball in lane, just because he does have good gun damage early on and can use that to push. The problem is that, okay, you've gotten Guardian. Your roam potential Warden-wise isn't that great, but they're rotating around. Okay, they're doing the full lane swap where they want to restabilize in middle, so they're putting their power lane of Warden Bebop in mid, and they're wholesale swapping their mid lane over to left.
Hyper beam coming in. John like trying to beam down the Victor. Doesn't like that he is so handsome. Or maybe doesn't like that he smells so much, but looks like League will get taken out there, so that's good work there from Melee Creeps as they continue to put the pressure on in this mid lane now, which is important. You want to equalize this Guardian as quickly as you can. The master of the hooks, NA's best hooker, John, able to take more damage there onto the Paradox as they keep this pressure. And there it is. We're forced to see the Yamato ultimate there to fend them off. And it looks like that Guardian's going to stay pretty healthy here, as the response is nice from Melee Creeps. And they even get a kill off of it. So working out there for Melee Creeps quite nicely on the defense.
I think the move of just swapping your winning lane to another lane to win, I think is a really smart one, especially when John is just Mr. Can't miss a hook. I say that as he misses a hook, but hey, it was a good attempt. But you see the value of the pressure being put forward here. You temporarily allocate 3 to mid, and you're about to equalize on mid Guardian, which otherwise would be a pretty big advantage for Sneaky Golem. So the macro decisions being made from Melee Creeps off of the micro victory, largely fueled by John just smashing the hooks. Pretty smart so far from Melee Creeps.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about Bebop, is it allows you to really control the... I mean, as you say, you kind of have to hit the hooks, but it does allow you to sort of force action in a way that's can be very powerful if you're connecting those hooks and getting those fights.
I see Bebop.
Undeniable pressure, and then rolling that into the objectives to keep the pace high is really nice. And speaking of which, John now on that right side lane to do the next job, which is this next and final Guardian that needs to be removed. And that's going to be contested 3v3 on the right side at the moment. As we can see, Fishcake here on the Shiv, looking to keep that pressure on. They've actually forced Sneaky Golem all the way off this Guardian. This is great work here from Melee Creeps.
Well, John may have dug a little bit too deep, gets punished towards the end, so the adaptation coming in from Sneaky Golem now, looking to chase down the remaining members on the other end, maintain a bit of control in the lane. I have to expect John's going to be back out, and again, the John build is kind of interesting in Bebop, where it's very tank heavy. It's basically get in people's face, control space, and go for advantageous hooks. Shocking reanimation gonna be forced out of League. Over, and well, it may be an extra life, but it's not one that lasts for long, as DMB and Ido make sure it's a quick retreat back to base.
Yeah, this right side lane still heavily contested, Guardian up on both sides. Oh, the killing blow just shy, but doesn't matter at all. Kelvin Shiv on duty with a guest appearance from John on the Bebop. Still looking to try to take this Guardian down. They really want to take this Guardian down, and finally looks like they should be able to do it here, but still some resistance from Sneaky Golem. The job done. It can fall off now. Okay, gotta be careful there. Goober does get a catch on the serrated blades. Oh, finds a finishing shot though with the assassinate onto Goober, but can Goober survive the Shiv attack? That's another question here. Looks like the cover's going to get forced off as well, so Saya goes down, and let's love this from Sneaky Golem's EP. They lost their Guardian, but they just kept pushing through.
Well, the main thing for Sneaky Golem is that they also realize that they're kind of getting out-muscled in even fights, so they rotate 4 in total over to the right-hand side, use that to power through the fight. It works out really effectively. They still keep the Amato and Victor off getting farm for later on in the left and mid respectively. I think it was a really good rotation. Not only gets him the Guardian, gets some kills, helps him even up the deficit that otherwise could have been, a little bit over the top. Honestly, about the best adaptation you could expect at this point from Sneaky Golem, but, still in a world of hurt to an extent. interesting thing that's of note, though, for as much as John John's been making plays, the way John John's been moving around the map has not been good for John John's economy. Like, probably the most impactful player from melee creeps here thus far, but also not really getting rewarded in souls for it either.
So it feels like we get somewhat of a pause as we come to the 10-minute mark where the urn spawns, and that pause will go away because people will be fighting over the urns, the bridge buffs. And you got to be already considering some of the positioning on that one now.
Overall, I don't think Sneaky Golem is too upset with this game state here. Yeah, they got run over a little bit from the rotations and John making lanes untenable, but the damage done down 6k at this point, while not ideal, you know, they're still running a Paradox. They still have the late game option to the Victor. Like, it really isn't that terrible as Owl comes out, goes over, and puts Rocker in a bind.
There it is. That dome is going to be quite useful as there's no escape for Rocker. Okay, this Walker, this is a nice push here from melee creeps. There is nothing to defend this, really. The Victor is here, solo appearance. With that said, though, where's the assistance gone for Ido? The Fishcake is coming back to fight, but there are now more players along for the rise here, or looking to do so potentially from Sneaky Golem. In fact, actually, might be more concerned with the urn interception here, ZP. We've got that urn now in the hands, the robotic hands of Bebop.
Kind of interesting. I thought they were going to keep the Shiv and Mina on left-hand side and just go for Walker pressure and bait Urn, but it's looking more so like a full commit to Urn. John on the fast break. No one should be in his way in this Urn turn, and does Sneaky Golem get anything in the way of kills or intercepts here in turn? When you take a look, you have Rocker doing a little bit of fishing right now in the Paradox, has Swap here on the left-hand side. You have a big numerical advantage. You've given up the Urn, but so far Sneaky Golem, they're not getting anything in exchange for giving up that Urn, so again, kind of kudos to melee creeps expanding their lead.
Definitely, it feels like a more even game than the previous one, but actually 10k soul difference at the moment in favor of melee creeps with that Shiv Kelvin action. D&B actually the most affluent player on the server at the moment on that Warden. I fancy that. He's a rich copper.
And yet, I feel like Warden, when Warden even does get ahead, I feel like the same I did when Old School 7 got ahead. It's just like, well, yeah, you have to be that much ahead to even be a character. Like, it's not, oh man, he's ahead, he's about to dominate us. It's, oh, Warden has a several K lead. He can be a real hero. For now, it's maybe a little bit doomer. I think being backed up by the Kelvin certainly makes the situation a lot rosier for melee creeps. The way Sneaky Golem is playing right now, though, Sneaky Golem is just playing to avoid any bigger losses and letting this lead get further away. They just need to survive to late game, is effectively where they're at.
Yeah, it definitely does make a difference having the Kelvin for support on this Warden. I will definitely agree about that. Okay, so map control absolutely in favor of melee creeps. Look at all the lanes pushed up in their favor right now. You've got a Sneaky Golem in a state where they have to sort of respond. They're in a reactive state, which is quite powerful for melee creeps because they're able to take the initiative and dictate sort of where some of these fights are. Applying pressure on both sides of the map equally at the moment here, ZP, and it looks like that left side is a 2v1 in favor of melee creeps. So melee creeps are certainly going to be pulling some rotation and making sure to respect that presence.
This is an old school Warden build, by the way, Dan. Like, I'm taking a look at this. This is like the older, like, speed Warden style where you get early enduring speed, which, did get buffed somewhat recently, and Fleetfoot. Fleetfoot, which hasn't been too much in style, but okay, you're gonna be stuck in the jail. You go for Shadow Transformation. Kelvin, though, in pursuit. AVG probably will be able to shake this. But this is a highly mobile Warden. Like, this is the type of Warden where if you keep on this itemization trend, you're gonna, like, go Frenzy or something later into the game and just be full race car. The downside, though, when you do this relative to something like a Gun Holiday is that you don't hurt as much as other options and other builds would make you hurt.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And well, all the mobility is necessary in Sire. There you go. Rescue beam on the way. You can see Sire has built full support. It's got the Divine Barrier as well. or the Guardian Shield, or whatever it's called these days. Oh my god, massive fight there.
He
The
got locked
dome
out.
is erected, and it's going to result in good things for melee creeps. Oh, the chase down onto the pocket. Rokane, he gets chunks of ice in his back.
Shocking reanimation, taken out by Killing Blow.
Our green walker is under attack.
And for me, as I look at this here, the question is for melee creeps, can they do enough damage to secure their lead and put this one away right now? They're not going to have a better chance to continue to add on to their lead than where they're at now. They would love to get the left-hand side walker. Or now we're at 15 minutes, you know, try and bait a bad fight in the middle, turn in the mid-boss. But I do think melee creeps is on a timer right now. If they let this go back to even, Sneaky Golem is going to win the game. So everything from this point forward, Dan, is about melee creeps maintaining their momentum and not making a mistake.
Well, here we go, another fight on this right side. Looks like melee creep's pretty outnumbered here. So, I mean, Kelvin's good, but I don't think he's good enough to get himself out of this. So gets taken out.
Took down Kelvin.
And that's the under control, but the depositing is another story entirely. It is a comeback urn, but you can see this walker's going to go down right next to the comeback urn. So it only gets harder from here because you've got melee creeps ready for a full contest at the comeback urn location.
You know, if you're Sneaky Golem, I do feel like you kind of want the fight here. You don't have to do an earn fight with Kelvin, who's usually the biggest threat. And I think melee creeps maybe recognizing, are they going to go for it? Or they go for the hook? They get the earn hook on top of it, John. Right place, right time. Is that going to be enough to disrupt the earn turn in? It's certainly step one. Owl coming in after, but not in time. Hydration still just able to shake off the hook, walk forward, get the turn in, and John gets punished on the tail end. AVG able to come in as the fight develops, and this is a really, really nice swing for Sneaky Golem here, Dan. Like, yes, they lost a walker, but getting the kill and getting the earn has now put them under 10k difference when they're a better team if they're at even.
However, there is still a first tier Guardian up on the left side for melee creeps. So that's going to have to take some attention from Sneaky Golem. But in the meantime, in the basement, we do get a fight that's looking kind of nice initially here for melee creeps. And indeed, it's looking very risky now for Sneaky Golem. League trying to teleport his way away. DMB, it's going to make his way through the teleporter. That looks like League will be able to get to safety. Reincarnation, shocking reanimation is used though. And map control is still in favor of melee creeps.
DB's going Glass Cannon next, which is probably the right item, but if you want to go full race car warden at this point, one of the next items that historically you get would be Heroic Aura. Like, gives you fire rate and also lets you zoom even more. But, you know, nearly most of the items that John has gone for here, or rather DMB has gone for, are items that also give extra move speed at the same time. So it is like 80% race car warden.
All right, I'm well curious to see if you're right on the next item. We'll try to keep an eye on that. Look from Bebop, John putting the fire down. So good damage there onto Goober, who is just at distance right now with the assassinate. In comes the Intercontinental Ballistic Bird straight onto the pocket. Rokane shrugs that one off though as the Hyper Beam comes on through from melee creeps as they again just control the space here. The melee creeps generally better positioning overall as a team together right now. But with that said, what a big bag to get a steal on top of. That's a really nice one from League. Could even push the Walker potentially, but it falls off.
All right, melee creeps getting the lead up a little bit more. It was under 10k, now back over 10k. Sneaky Golem, you take a look at here, Dan, they are giving up bits and pieces of their jungle as time goes on. They are really just attempting to survive and be scrappy with opportunities. Like, the goal here is don't lose a fight so much that you give up mid-boss, defend walkers viciously, and, you know, take what jungle you can safely. And there is this inherent pressure a bit on John, you know, to go forth as Bebop, find picks, you know, ideally pull people in a situation where you have to team fight against the Kelvin. So we'll see how the next fight develops. I mean, I think if you're melee creeps, you're content to be a little bit chill until 20-minute mid buffs come up.
Yeah, just picking up the farmness on the map. Okay, big jump here onto GT. Scout gets the knockdown put on him. DMB is there though to try to help out, but Scout is going to get taken out, so not really that much to do. Sneaky Golem, actually, if they pick up another kill here, that would be very, very bad right now for melee creeps. They need, because they would probably concede the Walker as well, but they are able to force Sneaky Golem back, so that is totally fine. That left side Guardian is still up. CP.
Someone's got to backdoor that thing. That's actually like they've usually had people there, so it's not even instantly obvious that's still up with how the minimap works. But yeah, I mean, at some point, someone's just got to walk over and deal with that, because yeah, not having a flex slot is kind of harshly impacting Sneaky Golem build options at this point. This is where you start altering your build order as a result of just being very limited on your slots. But if you look at how melee creeps is spotted on the map, it does seem like they're just leaving 2 to 3 people in the left to mid quadrant of the map at all times, so they can, you know, react to a backdoor and at least, you know, make it a trade. And at this point in the game, if someone like goes for the raw backdoor onto the left and they get punished, and well, it may be mid boss. So it is kind of it's a little bit tough that Sneaky Golem has allowed it to get to this point.
This is really where you really love those drafts that you see from teams like, you know, we see from Buff Enjoyers, or just like really any of the top EU teams. So they'll often have like a dedicated person for a lane that can just play by themselves, and the rest of the team can pressure elsewhere to draw rotation away, and then it just like creates the space for plays like that to be made by the solo player.
So this is a trade. So Jason was mentioning Sai was waiting for the neutral turn in. Neutral turn in is out, and it's going to be earned for Guardian. The Guardian is finally going down because, damn it, you need a little bit of room. The max capacity was hit, and the slot was very much required. And we'll see how this fight turns out. Melee Creep still looking for a little bit of a punish. John over, hook, armed and ready to go. Waiting, fires, gets it, gets the Vindicta at the last moment. Goober, in a world of hurt, should get bursted right down.
Melee Creep's looking good now, a 20k advantage. Starting to be problematic now again for Sneaky Golem. There was some kind of an equilibrium for a moment, but you get the mid boss coming on through. There are some ults here for Sneaky Golem, but they don't have some of the key ones. The Affliction most notably. Oh, okay, mid boss screams. Is it a bait?
It's a bait. He got one! John pulled one through the tunnel, and Rocker's immediately gone. You just see the hook from our perspective go, and then you just hear the connection. Elsewhere, a little bit of pressure from League, but you're down 2 effectively on this fight. Yeah, Goober is back up. It's still not the best area of the fight, and now it goes up top here, Dan. The Frozen Shelter is dropped, and you know, Melee Creeps trying to take this a slow fight in their favor, but the Frozen Shelter, Saya may have bit off more than they can chew.
Yeah, Sai getting beamed by the mid boss there. Fight breaks out outside in the mid lane, and this fight is for the mid boss at this point. We'll see if Sneaky Golem can hold on to things here. They have taken down 1 player so far, operating in a 5v5 in this one, as eventually Fishcake gets chased down, isolated away by the Yamato. And right now the fight looks like it could be breaking in favor of Sneaky Golem, which is a massive win here. The Yamato pick really starting. Oh, nice counterspell parry off of the ult bird. Great stuff there from AVG. And okay, taking the fight now straight to Scout. Is he going to be able to escape? He has been allowed to leave. Saya goes down in the meantime, as now the mid boss will be finished, and the Rejuve crystals claimed by the rightful owners, perhaps.
I'd love to get a replay to figure out what in the world happened, where Saya went up, I think ice path to the area above mid boss, dropped a Frozen Shelter that was not all that effective. Okay, Melee Creeps to drop a Spirit Snare towards the end. No one's actually willing to drop down, so no, actually, okay, Rokane died. I think Rokane got sniped as they were going for that. 2 Rejuves already down, so the disengage here from Sneaky Golem has actually been a little bit rough, Dan, but I think they get to leave with 1 Rejuve. Maybe.
Yeah, 1 Rejuve. At least it is still a Rejuve. The buff is still active, and we'll see. Now, another fight here from Melee Creeps. They want to get rid of that immediately, and it's gone. Goober gets taken down, and no Rejuve crystals remain. Can Sneaky Golems like make this a good fight though? Can they convert? Bird comes on in and fighting in the underground. Outnumbered is Sneaky Golem, and now they're down 2 players. And it was great work. It really was. And it did even up the game quite a lot compared to where it was or where it could be. But still, Sneaky Golem behind.
Yeah, I mean, the end state here is that Sneaky Golem end up a little bit more behind than where they were before the earn trade. But they avoid the worst of it, which could have been a game-ending mid-boss. And I think positionally, Melee Creeps probably outthought themselves a little bit, where they go for the bait, they go around, they end up getting split, they get a low-value Frozen Shelter, and they give up some kills in turn. The big threat here with Melee Creeps is, again, I think even with the Shiv Kelvin, the endgame versus Victor, Pocket, Yamato, I do think gets a little bit perilous, so they don't want this to go long, and, well, off the hook, Rocker just got the treatment! That was abuse that just happened there, Dan, between the hook and the follow-through.
Got absolutely drilled by the talent. Oh my goodness. Nosedive. Imagine if it did more damage, if you kind of like angle it down more. I don't know. Something I'm working on.
You just pick up downward momentum as it's going over, a little bit of a bonus. Now, the upside about Gun Warden here, going to be doing obscene amounts of objective damage the same way that Gun Holiday would be doing at this point in the game.
Well, the sieging is going to be fended off for now. Sneaky Golem are pushing them back. Okay, there's a Kelvin Shelter. That's going to make a big problem here for Sneaky Golem. DMB fighting inside of that, though, gets pulled out with the rescue beam. Really good work there from Messiah doing that support role, but still isn't enough there to prevent the kill from coming through. AVG is a problem right now, and that Yamato is pursuing these kills right now. You've got Ido, who has to disengage from the fight, isolating his teammates here, and they're getting focus fired now. The fight turns against Melee Creeps as we get Victor in all of his handsome beauty, chasing down Ido. Very weak now, but a couple sanguine retreats should be enough to keep him safe, and he'll get out of that fight, but they got dispersed CP, they got isolated, and Sneaky Golem come away the victors in that engagement.
They lose a walker in turn. Meanwhile, Melee Creeps maintain their walkers, but down 2, Sneaky Golem, I think, clearly want to make this a walker for walker trade. They got plenty of damage in tow. The walker is getting churned down bit by bit, piece by piece. Ends up being walker for walker, though. Sneaky Golem still a bit behind on the walker game. AVG caught on the retreat, and now after Melee Creeps, you want to get a few more kills here. At least set yourself up to take more of the jungle on the retreat.
Here we go. Melee Creeps looking to re-engage this one, and they're going to be able to pick up a couple stragglers. 20k difference. Okay. Owl is looking for Paige. Paige has been located, and she has been notified, I suppose. She's been put on notice.
Actually, she got her invitation to Hogwarts. It got really, really explosive in recent years.
Nice, I like it.
I don't know. I mean, clearly it's not lethal, and it was barely an annoyance at that point. Okay, the Warden, you're strong, but you're not that strong. Like, CC is going to be trumping anything you got as far as movement speed goes. That is the problem with Speed Warden, is that you're still vulnerable to getting rooted in place and taken out. So DMP was just really quick to run in and die, and now perhaps a window of opportunity here for Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, Saya is going to pop the Divine Barrier, but will get taken out nonetheless. And okay, another opportunity for Sneaky Golem. They're still keeping this game close, still keeping this within a stone's throw of taking advantage themselves. They've been behind essentially the entire game so far. The earn turn in those coming on through. Fishcake standing on this one. Is there any deny? No. Turn in succeeds. Stun comes in too late. And now Melee Creeps can disengage as Sneaky Golem try to close the distance. This is not a fight that Melee Creeps want or are looking for, and they're not going to allow it.
Spellslinger getting taken up by DMB. Seen a little bit more life in that item recently. I don't think we've seen it on Warden in any of these games. We also haven't had a Warden get this deep into the game in recent memory. The problem that we are seeing, though, from some of the last few fights, I mean, okay, yeah, DMB walked into a blunder that he shouldn't have previous fight. But also, yes, you're quick and able to re-engage in this Warden build. You're still not really able to burst people down the way that something like a Holiday would at this level of farm at this game stage. So it's not as scary to Sneaky Golem as some of the other options with that amount of farm here so far. So even though it's like 192k to 174k, I almost feel like if Melee Creeps doesn't get a game-changing moment that leads to mid-boss in the next 2 to 3 minutes, it's going to be Sneaky Golem's game. Like, I think they're almost out of time for where we're at.
It's interesting because, you know, Sneaky Golem, I mean, if you look at the map state, they're like right now, they are out of control in the macro most of the time, but hang on. John gets caught, he gets the knockdown on him, he's getting overwhelmed and absolutely deleted. Okay, that's a great
You can't lose another.
You're right, and trying a great movement coming on through there. The frozen shelter? He's in a frozen shelter from above.
Another invitation. I mean, look, you're that much of a good student, you know, come on through. Yeah, the birds on the page have been weird. The question is, okay, mid-boss is up in 15. There's no Kelvin Dome. Like, you could try to force a mid-boss, but the way Sneaky Golem is positioned, particularly their lane state, probably saves Melee Creeps from having to deal with the attempt. Because the lanes are too rough for Sneaky Golem right now.
Okay, there we go. Mid-boss comes back up again, ZP. The urn is in play as well. Fight in middle. Melee Creeps are here, but Sneaky Golem are also here. Looking to fight this. GT is not in the fight, though, for Melee Creeps. They're down a player. They're outnumbered at the moment. They've got to be careful with this fight. Mastery of the skies with Goober. And they're going to secure the urn here again. And they could even potentially extract kills. So they could bait kills. We've got Rokin going so deep, though.
He was trying to finish off what was looking pretty good, but got rescue beamed away by Saya. Saya saved DMB's life as DMB was a little bit overextended. Now if you're Sneaky Golem, oh, okay, Melee Creeps, they want mid-boss. They don't care. They say, you can have the urn, we want mid-boss. And they certainly have the gun damage to take this down and then some. The urn is turned in, though, and Sneaky Golem, they're going to be able to get here in time for a contest stand, even down things like charge from Page.
They're looking to come on through. They're still beaming down the mid-boss, even though Sneaky Golem is right outside the front door. Are they going to look to burst in? They're looking to breach into the pit. There goes the Rejuve, and there is frozen in time. The Kelvin Shelter will delay this one a little bit longer. And now the attempts come through. The parries on through as well, and it's going to be 3 Rejuves for Melee Creeps.
That was almost so good from League, but not quite. Canceled the E-shift at the right moment, drops a parry, but not enough to parry everyone. All 3 Rejuve crystals end up for Melee Creeps. A decisive advantage. But the actual battle power between both teams still very, very close here, Dan. So for a late game mid-boss, it's not guaranteed to be over, but Melee Creeps, they need to make the most out of this Rejuve, because I tell you now, if they don't get a critical advantage from this, I don't think they get another chance.
Nice bird there from Scout. Slow things down on that lane, and here we go, conversion time off of the Rejuve crystals. DMB going as fast as his Warden legs can take him. Taking down these shrines. And Sneaky Golem, they've got to pick a good moment here, but it's really difficult. Down a player, they lose another one. And in fact, this could be ends, CP.
No, I think it is. I think AVG wait. This I don't love this. I actually think for Melee Creeps, you channel your EU and you go all in. I think leaving is the wrong call. You need the commit. And they've heard the call. They go back in. The patron is dropping. Melee Creeps all in on the patron. Can Sneaky Golem defend? Refresher is out for pocket, but it does not matter. The patron is gone. Melee Creeps, they beat the clock. They dispatch Sneaky Golem, and they win it in 3.
At least the third and final game of the series came out with a more of a normal style and normal bit of play, though we saw some amazing individual moments on top of things, thinking back to some of the hooks that John hit over and towards mid-boss, looking at a frozen shelter from Saya from above to save his teammate Fishcake on the shiv down below. A ridiculous play out of, honestly, both teams, merely bouncing back and forth the majority of the time. And also, Warden's back. You heard it here from ZP. Warden is now meta. Just kidding. Not meta.
Asterisk, when played with Kelvin Shiv. Yeah, to be clear.
And playing with the zooming build to get around the map extremely quickly. But I mean, Melee Creeps, they defend their title Sneaky Golem, we haven't seen him in a few weeks, but we show that they still have a lot to show us, and even some dynamo mixed in there when it came to that first game of the series. Though, what would have happened if that actually never existed? But gentlemen, looking back on this game here, I mean, melee creeps, I think I keep going back to a lot of really great individual moments, starting off right off the bat with John getting some insane control here with DMB in the lane.
Yeah, I think this is one of the reasons why John is such a problem when you allow him to get bebop, because what he can do with the lanes is pretty impressive. And in addition to that, you've got someone like Warden, who, I mean, Warden's decent in lane, but to be able to stick the Warden in a lane that can be so winning is pretty important as well. And to be able to pair with bebop is just super powerful. And they got some great tempo off of that, for sure.
I love how it's like, oh, you're playing against John. What are the both games that John won? Oh yeah, the Bebop games. And I look back in the draft, Sneaky Golem had plenty of easy opportunities in the games they lost against Bebop to ban a Bebop. It was not a highly prioed Bebop. So part of dealing with John the Bebop was Sneaky Golem just not giving enough respect in the draft. Pure and simple.
Yeah, I mean, we see why Bebop is constantly banned away from John here. I also do wonder if he doesn't hit these hooks and have this domination with DMB in that lane, does DMB ever become this powerhouse that he needed to be for them? I mean, maybe when it came to individual player damage, he wasn't necessarily doing the most, but the pressure he applied on walkers and the escapability he had with how fast he can move around the map was definitely something that had to be respected, especially when we got towards the very end for the finish. But actually, matter of fact, he had the most player damage by like 10k. The next closest was Scout, and you expect to see your Greytown extremely high on damage.
Yeah, what do you say about that, ZP? ZP?
As I look at it, I mean, look, I think this is a draft where you've gotten John on Bebop and you've gotten the Kelvin Shiv lane. Like, I don't know. I'm still, in terms of other options that are there, I don't love the Warden in this particular case. I will still kind of die on the hill that, barring future buffs, this was a game that was really well executed in game plan, and the Warden was brought along with it rather than being, holy shit, Warden is back, we need to pick Warden. That being said, I think to me, the macro of winning your lane and then rotating John from lane to lane in this particular game to give melee creeps their initial lead was incredibly well done, and Sneaky Golem was playing from behind the entire time off that early opening. So to me, it was just the Bebop play in the beginning and able to extend that Bebop advantage to every single lane in the game was what really brought over the top. Also, the fact that that initial lane that Bebop was in, that Guardian didn't go down until nearly 20 minutes into the game because of how hard that lane got won.
You know, seeing a Warden have this kind of performance, you know what that means? It just means we're going to end up having some more nerfs on Lash, to be honest. I look at the other side here, though, of the coin, and we talked up Goober so much when it came to the NA portion of the show, but unfortunately for him, at least in today's games, when he's not on Viscous, his level of impact drastically falls. Now, I say drastically falls not because he becomes useless, but because his Viscous is that much better than all the other heroes he's playing at the moment, at least in these games we've seen today here, Dan, that the Vindicta really didn't become much of a threat.
Yeah, it didn't really become too much of a threat. I don't know if it's just the lack of the synergies or what exactly the issue was with it. I think Goober did a good job in terms of how he played the Vindicta, in terms of just like positioning generally in fights, was like always in a good spot. Like Vindicta is very easy to kill and lock down, and despite losing the game, Goober's 4-2, which I think like shows that there was a good positioning. We saw a lot of key snipes coming on through, so I actually feel like Goober played it really well. But I agree with you, it doesn't really seem like the kit had that much impact in this game, and I guess it's because there's not a lot of like great synergy.
I'd have to go back and look at the draft order, but wasn't there the opportunity? Like, I don't know if Vindicta got picked dead last or not. I mean, maybe it was picked like pretty late, but I feel like there may have been a world where you could have just like picked Bebop for Goober and avoided a lot of what happened. Oh, okay. It was picked dead last though on this. It was not.
Yeah, we went into like another draw screen. I was like, wait, are we doing this again?
Surprise!
Guys, that was only match 2. We have a third game to go.
It's actually BO5 tonight.
Yeah, he easily could have gone Bebop for sure for the team, but obviously they have something in mind, something planned out when it comes to that. And then also, if you do have him play Bebop, that means you need to feed him over farm, because I believe, like, compared to Hoot doesn't really play a damage heavy Bebop. He plays more of utility Bebop with Trophy Collector, tries to get around the map to facilitate early kills. And Goober, he wants to be the one to carry with the damage he can do, because he's proven in the past that he can do it here, ZP.
Also, one thing of note here too, which probably does help on the Warden end, is that there was no natural capacitor carrier for Sneaky Golem here, and that's also often cited like one of the things that like makes Warden feel even bad, is that you can't even do race car build if people see you, zap you, and you lose your shielding and you lose your speed to go along with it. But we do have our MVP, and Jason, who is that?
Well, the MVP, it's going to be Tanner with the bully. No, it's going to be John, of course. When it came to
Tanner, man.
When it came to their victories here today, he was definitely one of the pivotal players for the melee creeps, getting them the extra money this week. And I mean, Dan, again, like if we compare Goober on Viscous, you kind of get the same skill expression when it comes to John on Bebop.
Oh yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say. Goober's Viscous is pretty unbelievable, definitely innovative and extremely powerful in every single facet. And yeah, you know, because we were focused on John here, I think it was pretty sad we didn't get to see the holiday really pop off in this first map. That was something I was very, very scared to see, is him just like deleting people, but we didn't get to see it. So I guess you're right, CP, we have to buff the hero.
Yeah. I mean, two things. A, buff Holiday. B, nerf Flash.
You know, let's be real though. I mean, there's got to be some Flash buffs in the future, right? It has to be.
You would think. It's kind of interesting because I know high-level feedback before Lash got nerfed was very much on the, hey, Lash is like overtuned, you need to do something. I think Lash's design kind of puts him in that zone where Lash is either going to feel pretty bad or very overpowering at the comp level. And right now, the pendulum is definitely on the he doesn't feel so good. But it also doesn't take much to suddenly make Lash feel like a god, or just nerfing some of the things that go against him. Like, you know, you talk about Lash overall, but what if Counterspell someday becomes a 6400 item, or Counterspell gets changed so it's not blocking ults, for example? Changing that item alone would suddenly be like, ooh, is Lash back? So there's a few different things that sort of keep Lash down even beyond his base kit.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me of the game night where I played Lash and Jake bought Counterspell and I didn't get a single death slam off because he counterspelled every single one. And every time it's like, as the Lash, you're like, oh, I got him now. I'm get him now, guys. And you just like hear a sound, nothing happens. He's just like so disappointed.
See, that was your first mistake. You played Lash against Jake. You're supposed to play Kelvin against Jake. It's his ultimate combo. We're almost guaranteed to win when he played that. We needed another game night because those were really fun matches. And well, actually, to be fair, I'm kind of worried to do another game night because I don't want to get absolutely wrecked by Jake on the warpath to put me in my place.
What
honestly.
are you doing, man? Like, you're the definition of the, oh man, reaping. Hell yeah, this is awesome. And, you know, sowing. Oh shit, what the hell? This sucks. Like, you're in the reaping stage, and you really want to avoid the sowing stage, and you really want to avoid the reaping stage. Is what
it's coming no matter what. So I might as well get all my licks in now. You know, I'll bust out one of my Viper against him, and if I lose, it's like, oh, it was Viper. What do you expect? But taking a look here at our hero priority for this week, again, Kelvin to be maintaining his spot over towards the top, but also Paige ZP making her way with 4 bans and 3 picks.
She's good, and if you've done any amount of pub games in recent memory, you realize that she's maybe the most annoying hero in the game. The amount of coverage that you get off Captivating Read with a little bit of expansion is unreal. Like, there's so many ways that a page can be the beginning of you just falling over in lane is pretty high, on top of her also being a really good laner. So yeah, barring page nerfs, I think this isn't going to change anytime soon. The hero is just legitimately that good.
And Dan, looking down the list, I mean, I don't know if there's any of the higher parties that you want to talk about, but I was looking towards the zeros, seeing Drifter here once again, Lash here once again, even Mirage here, and then 7 Wraith we're kind of used to. But there's definitely something that needs to change because it's kind of crazy that we have these consistent heroes always being avoided when it comes to pro play.
Well, it's funny because now Dynamite and Viper are both above like Mirage. It's like That's the craziest one because Mirage is. I don't know. Mirage. I don't think Mirage is bad.
No,
Like Mirage is like way better than that, but it just doesn't seem like Mirage gets prioritized at all, and I'm not entirely sure what the reason is. Isn't that weird?
It is a little bit weird. Like, I actually do think Mirage's current state, like, okay, it can be kind of looked at for the sense of if you want like gun damage and overall carry potential, you get it a little bit better from other heroes. But I think Traveler and the impact that can have on the macro game, it's being weirdly underrated. Like, I actually, one of these things is not like the other in the 0 tier, and it's definitely Mirage, I think, collectively being undervalued. The rest of it, though, I mean, Seven and Wraith being down there makes sense, given the fact that their early game is not that great. McGinnis, I mean, just doesn't get played really at all. Lash got nerfed, and Drifter, unless you want to be an alt body, still kind of searching for his competitive space. But Mirage is definitely the one where it's happened that way meta-wise. I don't think Mirage is actually bad.
And also, take a quick look here at Holiday. If she was picked, it was first round picked. Otherwise, she was banned. I think that kind of shows. Same with Kelvin, but I think Kelvin's kind of understandable from what we've seen in the past. But for her in particular, with the rise of these gun builds, she's become, I would say, almost the number one priority.
Yeah, and GT's gone up a lot in priority too, in terms of overall pick as well, which has been interesting because GT kind of disappeared for a while. So yeah, definitely some shifts that we're seeing, which is really cool to see. I love that the teams are still experimenting as time goes on. And it's also cool that Deadlock's a game where, like the Mirage thing, it doesn't really seem like there's a great reason to not choose Mirage. So maybe that's the next thing to make it back into the meta a bit more.
Okay, well, gentlemen, it is time to bring in a man with many faces, all of them looking extremely good. He seems to win nonstop, and you've been growing a little bit of a beard and mustache here, Ida. What's this?
Nah, it's just a little something, you know what I mean? This is only like 3 days, to be honest. I could grow a full beard and like everything if I wanted to. It's just the Mexican genes, you feel me?
What's everything? Never mind, I'm not gonna ask that question.
Everywhere, bro. I'm talking everywhere.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to ask that question. I want to move on from that one. But first of all, congratulations, man. I kind of want to start things off by maybe taking a quick look at the series here. Game 1, you see Dynamo on the other side. What was your thoughts? But then game 2, I know Sai mostly does a draft for you guys. You guys pick Viper. What was your thoughts between these two games? That's a good answer.
Okay. That was my reaction to both. I'm gonna be honest. So game 1, I saw Dynamo. I was like, hey, bet I can just this is free. I could pick GT and just win the game here. Dude, I don't know what they're cooking. I feel like game 1 is the game to cook though, since you have a game 2, you won't get knocked out. So I honestly respect them for picking the Dynamo. But that hero is so bad. It is awful, bro. In comp especially, you can't even use the 1. You just press double jump and it's over. So yeah, that was definitely an awful pick. And also Rocker's a really strong mechanical player. And putting him on Dynamo is just bro, that was just really bad. I don't know.
Also,
what about the
conversely,
Viper?
Yeah, I want to be a little bit more specific on the Viper. Yeah. I mean, how does it feel when you're hearing comms and says all right, guys, I'm going back to base 1 minute into the game, and then guys are about to lose mid 4 minutes of the game. Ido, swap me. Lane, swap me now. Help. Please help.
All right, so to be honest, I was the whole time in draft, I was like, yo, guys, ban Geist. And then last second, out of nowhere, we just banned Page, and I'm just like, what is happening? So already Geist is like a Thanos hero. I just think it's so crazy. And then I'm like, okay, whatever, maybe it's salvageable. And then we get down to 6, and then we're like, oh, Viper's looking good here. And then he insta-locks it. I'm just like, what are we doing, bro? I mean, sure, bro, it's game 2. It is what it is, man. I mean, I trusted it because always trust your teammates. But the thing is, oh my god. Yeah, and like you said, the early tower, he didn't say anything, by the way. I just saw our tower less than 20% at 3 minutes. And I was like, all right, bro, I gotta do something for these guys. And then, I mean, the rest of the game was just shocked. That hero is just so bad. It's so bad. I mean, it low-key kind of tilted me, too, throughout the game. So I wasn't really playing my best either on the shit. It was, really tilting. But it is what it is, bro. I knew game 3 would bring it back when they gave you Mina. It's just free win.
You still won in the end, so that's all that matters. Dan, what do you have for Ido?
Yeah, I mean, game 3 was pretty challenging, but it seems like John on Bebop is such a strong advantage to have because it feels like he really controls the early game so well and gets you guys off to a good start. Like do you think is John just like completely different to any other Bebop out there?
Yes, that guy is a genius. I don't know. He's like so good with hooks and like at the right timings. It's insane. Definitely deserve the MVP today for sure. I mean, that guy's Bebop is. I like. Did they just forget or something? Like, I'm kind of confused. You know how they used to ban it like top 1? It just,
Yeah.
Like people just forget. Like, oh, let's forget. Like we forgot that Shiv Kelvin is one of the most broken things in the game. We forgot that John John's the best Bebop in the game. It's not even close. Like,
You're going on that like ancient cycle of like, you know, high fantasy of like, we forgot the lessons of the elders, except in this case, everyone's so brain rotted by TikTok and you know, other social media that the cycle of that is no longer in generations. It's just like, I forgot the lessons of 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like, actually, you know, maybe it's not that bad, and then you get rolled by it, and I mean that's how we lost DNS what was it? In Baroness Residence or whatever, we lost
The Baroness Hotel.
Oh yeah, Baroness Hotel. Yeah, actually, Shiv Kelvin is not that bad. Let's let it through, and they top through it, and we just lost immediately in game 2. Yeah, it's you can't like I don't know how people just forget. It doesn't really make sense, but yeah, that game 3 was pretty fun.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question here because we obviously talk about your teammates a lot, but I want to talk about you really quickly. I know you took a break from playing competitive because you really wanted to focus on streaming. You came back to playing competitive now. I want to hear your thoughts on like how things have developed in your balance of wanting to become like a streamer and content creator versus still playing competitively in Deadlock. How have things worked out for you within Melee Creep so far?
Well, first off, the reason I even wanted to join the team is because I really like these guys. Like, it's just fun. Like, I've always liked Fishcake, and I like teaming with the BNB. And even like Side John, DNB, and Scout. It's just good vibes. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind joining team. There's something inside of me that just like triggered. You know what I mean? Where it was like, damn, people really don't think I'm like the best player at this game. So I gotta lock it in. I think I was really bad like 2 months ago, like back on Baroness, but over the last month and a half, I've just been putting a lot of work to like get better, and it like translates really well into like, and basically I just want to share it, right? I want to share knowledge with people that I like and that I want to play with competitively in the future, right? And so I was like really pushing to get on to Melee Creeps, and fortunately they were able to make space for me, so that was cool. Either way, even if I didn't join Melee Creeps, I was fine with just getting better and improving. But I mean, this team can't lose. Like they're just really good. So I was like, might as well just join. And yeah.
I got a question. I know it's going long here. I was sorry, Dan. Did you have a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. My quick question is just overall Deadlock wise, and this is a structure question, not a game balance question, because obviously there's a few things you would immediately jump to, but you had to change one thing in the game or add one thing to the game right now. What is it? So I'm talking more about the ideas like, maybe mid boss is too strong, maybe like, an element of the macro feels bad, what's the one change you would make to improve the game of where it is right now?
So for me, the macro is very basic. Like, I'm gonna be honest, this game is very easy in comparison to other MOBAs that I've watched. The macro aspect is not extremely hard to understand, and like when you understand it, it's very easy to play. And what really comes down to is like team fighting. So what I would want is probably like some other objective that in the game that would like force more team fights, just to make the game more interesting between like the 10-15, like the 5-minute margin of like when nothing's happening. That happens so often in these games, and I think what Deadlock does really well compared to like League is like fights are happening all the time, which is like makes it pretty fun, especially because of like the verticality and whatnot. And yes, like you said, this mid boss has to go. Like it is the most broken objective I've ever seen in any. Like it's so dumb how strong it is. If you lose all 3, you lose the game, like guaranteed. Like it's just, what is it, 95% win rate in DNS or something? If you get all 3, some crazy stat like that, and it's like remove the stats, or remove like the respawn. Right, like something just has to go about this mid boss. It's just like it feels like all right, the game's going too long. Let's let this team end the game and just run it down, because you cannot counterplay. They can run you down and just end the game with 3 lives, especially with all players being on a similar skill level. It's even worse in pubs too. Yeah, mid boss has got to go or get reworked or something. But
All right, well, you heard it here. Ido says mid boss has got to go and give us another objective to fight over. Ido, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to do this interview. You're looking as handsome as ever, and I would say keep the facial hair. It looks good on you.
Really? Okay. Appreciate it, Jason.
Anything looks good on you, though.
I'll let it grow out for like a couple more weeks. We'll see how it goes. It might be like a caveman.
That's how I got to this point. And then now the wife hates it, but I can't get rid of it because it's just me now. But yeah, thank you so much, man. Congratulations once again.
I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Thank you for hosting once again. Keeping the game alive, the competitive scene. Peace.
He's keeping the game alive. Melee Creeps are keeping the game alive. All the players here today on the night shift have been keeping the game alive. But more importantly, all you viewers watching at home have been keeping things alive for us as well, making sure you're here week in and week out to make sure we can all enjoy the game that we love. Before we do end off the day, maybe we should do a quick little recap or maybe some final thoughts here out of you two gentlemen, because honestly, we've got not much left to talk about here. Let's start with you, Dan.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying how we're seeing the evolution of the North American competition. It's cool that Ido's like back in the comp scene or sphere, because we used to talk about him a lot, and it was in a time when he wasn't on the team, and so it's always kind of sad that we would like reference him as like give LeBron the ball with like pocket and all the rest of it. Like that was the kind of talk that we would have. So it's great to see him back here as well, because he's such an important, I think, a player in the North American scene in general. So that's great to see. And just in general, the competition is getting better and better. I feel like in Europe now, also like, seeing Fearless Furies, making some improvements and progress. Really, really great to see. These are the teams and players that are going to have a pretty big edge when the game goes live. So it's pretty cool to see the beginning of the story.
And before you go, ZP, once again, a big shout out to everyone who at home were watching and donating to this one. Remember, all the money went towards the prize pool. We managed to raise 370 to add extra to the prize pool. We put up 1,200 every week for now, making sure to give 600 to each region. So we'll be splitting that down the middle for NA and for EU. And of course, we'll be back next week for the same thing yet again. But ZP, what about your final thoughts?
Look, my final thoughts is that the community helps make this happen. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in, all the players for playing. Also, I saw a comment in chat right now saying, I'm worried that without a sponsor, DLNS may not be able to carry on much longer. Look, we would love to get sponsors, and there may be some stuff in the works, but worst case scenario, we will pro bono and still run this week after week till we get them. Like, it's important to the Deadlock community to keep this going, and yeah, that's where we're at. So, guys, no fear. That being said, when it gets into December and it's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, probably taking a break then, but that's because it's the holidays and people want a little bit of a break. But we're committed to the community and you guys, and should have no fear in that whatsoever.
Yeah, and obviously a big shout out to you guys, not only to the people who donate, but obviously all of our Twitch subs, all of our YouTube members, our Patreon subs as well. We thank you guys so much. We try to get back to you as much as we possibly can through Patreon. Remember, we have all these different tiers where you can support us. We have one person in our VIP CEO board member role at 250. Big man Tetsuo coming through with that one. We have a lot of future plans in the works as well. Hopefully another game night soon. But on top of that, that's been week number 14, shift number 14 for the Deadlock Night Shift. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for some more Deadlock action.